It is a clash of contrasting styles this weekend in Duluth. The normally high-octane offense of Northern Michigan meets the typically shut-down defense of Minnesota Duluth. Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome inside Amsoil Arena and our My9 Sports broadcast booth. I am Zach Schneider. Alongside me for this evening's game is former UMD captain Judd Medic, and from our sister station in Michigan is Dave Ellis. The UMD Bulldogs opened their season last weekend with a 2-2 overtime tie in this building against Michigan Tech, while the visiting Wildcats will start their campaign this weekend here in Duluth. It is their first time playing in this city since February of 2015.
Yeah, it's always nice to get these non-conference games here, some new teams coming in. Obviously a great rivalry, some history behind these teams a little bit, but again, always nice when these northern teams come in from other conferences, and it's always exciting to start the year off like this.
A little bit of an advantage playing last weekend for the Bulldogs, and Grant Patolny, the northern coach, said, you know what? I'd rather be the team that played the game than the one that's the mystery coming in tonight.
That second game tomorrow night, new territory for both these teams. But first tonight, Northern Michigan comes into this weekend the 15th highest scoring team in the country from a year ago, thanks in large part to their returning leading scorer, preseason All-CCHA selection, Andre Gantus.
He came back and was a big get for Northern Michigan because, like I told you guys, if you watch the game, you don't necessarily see Andre. But if you watch Andre, you're going to see the game developer in front of him. He is the guy that pulls the strings, and like we say, the straw that stirs the drink for the Wildcats.
A couple other Minnesota connections up and down that Northern Michigan lineup, namely Jack Perbix and Grant Slakinski. We will talk about them as the game goes on. UMD saw a couple collegiate firsts in last weekend's series opener, including the first assist as a Bulldog for Hermantown native Aaron Pionk, who, Judd, has looked every bit the part of a top pair defenseman.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't. Didn't look like a freshman in that first game, and that's what we've been hearing about him through practice and preseason and all that stuff. That following in the footsteps of his older brother Neil Pionk, who all our viewers I'm sure have heard of before, a great Bulldog playing in the NHL, one of 10 I believe that started the year in the NHL, Bulldogs that is. So Aaron had a great first game. I'm excited to watch him continue his career here and this season, and he's really composed with the puck. Had his first assist, like you said, last weekend, Zach, so he certainly is a key to this defensive core for UMD.
The Bulldogs lineup the same as it was last Saturday in their season opener. Head coach Scott Sandlin said, frankly, I don't know enough to make any changes at this point. We're just going to roll with what we've got right now. Let's turn now to our Kohler keys to the game. First for the visitors, Northern Michigan.
Well, they want to make this not a 200-foot game, guys. They want to shorten the rink, and by doing that, the only way to do it is to get turnovers from the other team. They saw Duluth played really well in the first period last week by controlling the puck. They want to get it away from them. Now, how do you do that? You go out and hunt. Grant Patolny's favorite saying when his team doesn't have the biscuit is go and hunt that puck. Get it for me, turn it over, and make this a much shorter game than playing the full 200 feet.
And the Kohler keys to the game for the home team, UMD, Judd.
Well, we touched on it a little bit. This is Northern Michigan's first game of the season. UMD lucky to get one last week. Obviously, they want to get a fast start. They want to try to jump on this Northern team right away, home ice, their first game, get them back on their heels with a good start, hopefully get a lead. And they got to take care of the puck. We know that this defensive core for UMD might be the question mark of the season for this team. A lot to prove on the back end. It all starts with just being simple, taking care of the puck, no unnecessary turnovers, no freebies, as we like to say, as Scott Sandlin says. No freebies, make one good first pass, get the puck out of the zone, simple as that.
We will drop the puck right after this. The Bulldogs and the Wildcats here at Amsoil Arena on My9 Sports. Welcome back, everybody, to Amsoil Arena in Duluth, Minnesota. I'm Zach Schneider, joined tonight by Judd Medic and Dave Ellis. Northern Michigan and UMD, game 1 of 2 this weekend. Tonight's game brought to you with the proud support of Essentia Health and Kohler Chevrolet Buick GMC. We appreciate their support of these broadcasts all season long. The starting goaltending matchup tonight, a good one for Northern Michigan, a sophomore out of Hungary, Benny Halaz. He was on the CCHA's all-rookie team last season. He led that league in goals against average, save percentage, and shutouts for UMD. Zach Staskal gets his second straight start to start the year for UMD. He made 32 saves last Saturday night in the opener, a 2-2 tie against Michigan Tech.
So there's going to be an interesting start to this game now, Judd. We're looking around and trying to figure this out.
Well, there was some chatter. There's a rule in NCAA about getting off the ice in a timely fashion, and here we're going to get an announcement from the referee. We believe Northern Michigan's going to start the game shorthanded with the violation of the time in warm-up, which we saw last year UMD get one. Just waiting for the announcement here.
The official microphone malfunctioning to start this game. And there is the official announcement. Northern Michigan to start shorthanded. Their players on the ice too long after the pregame warm-ups, and UMD will get the game's first Minnesota power play at the 0 minute, 0 second mark of the first.
I didn't even notice, did they announce 5 starters? Because there aren't going to be.
Yeah, somebody's got to leave
the point.
Ice. The poor guy's got to go serve this one. It's going to be
Tanner Lash.
Yep.
I mean, what a way to start your season. They haven't played a game yet, and you're
start shorthanded.
Going with 4.
And it wasn't just 1 or 2 players. It was 7 or 8 Northern Michigan Wildcats still on the ice at that 23-minute mark. So a lesson well learned for that team, and we are underway. Game 1 of 2 this weekend between the Bulldogs and the Wildcats. Thanks for being along with us. This is James for UMD into the zone to the far side. Olsen gives to Gallatin, walks down, save Halas. The rebound comes to Olsen. He couldn't pull the trigger. Has it back now in the circle. This is Gallatin. 30 seconds gone in the game-opening power play. James in the near circle. Gallatin at the point, walks to the middle. James handcuffed him a bit. He controls now. This is Olsen to Steves. He was their power play hero a year ago. Back to the point, it's Gallatin. Olsen, far circle. Switches spots with Dominic James. Just the 1 shot on goal so far for UMD. James walks in. Halas, another save. The rebound jammed at by Olsen, and Halas makes 3 saves, but Gallatin holds the clearing attempt at the far point. Steves walks into the circle. He fires. Another save from Halas. Being tested here early in the season opener for Northern Michigan. Seems he's picked up right where he left off last year, and the Wildcats going to get a clear. Gallatin able to knock it down just as it crossed the blue line. So Northern Michigan can't change its killers. Back on the attack is UMD. Olsen, and Halas swallows that one up for Northern Michigan. Let's go between the benches to another member of our broadcast team, Alexis Bass.
Thanks, Zach. When we asked head coach Scott Slannon what to expect with Northern Michigan this week, he said, I don't have a clue. I haven't watched a thing about them. I haven't told the guys about them. He said, well, yes, I will go ahead and check on their tendencies, situational things. He's just focused on ensuring that this team can establish consistency early on and just get better. Zach?
Yeah, he reiterated that point before the game today as a puck comes over the glass and dangerously into the seats. We hope everybody's okay. They're right in front of us as that puck was cleared by Northern Michigan, tried to go high off the glass and instead into the crowd.
I heard plastic, and that's always a good sound when it's going through that way, but that's why you always keep your head on a swivel. Even if you're above the glass line, you got to be ready to go.
More than 90 seconds gone in this power play for UMD. Pionk holds the zone. To the far side, this is Bass, the transfer from North Dakota. McMenamin tried to jam on the far side. Halas tight to his post. Bass back to the point, it's Pionk. Gives it to Perkins. Tried to go back across for Bass. Off the dasher, they can't control. And again, out to center ice. A good kill to start the season for Northern Michigan. We're back to 5-on-5. Perkins has it. Leaves it there for Biondi. Even strength now, back to Pionk, one-timer, that was blocked in front. Now off the bench, Bodner chuck a drive, that was wide. Perkins has it for the Bulldogs. 7 shots on that power play for the Bulldogs. Halas equal to every task. Now Gustafson Nyberg takes a hit in the far side from Carter Loney. He gets some help from Anthony Mangini, one of the freshman heroes in last weekend's opener for UMD.
Well, it was a great kill by Northern there. You obviously don't want to start the game on that situation, an awful way to start your season, but when you come out of it and you kill it off, that's a great momentum builder for them. A great way to face a little adversity and fight through it.
Slakinski up to Messick. Helps it along. Pierce is the first one there for UMD. Slides it ahead for Loney, just out of his reach. And back to play it as Isaac Bandu for the Wildcats. Leaves it for his partner, Josh Zinger. And those two will break out for Northern Michigan. Across the line, they dump it in. Gallatin fights for it there for UMD. Riley Funk takes it away, moves it back to the point. Long shot. That was blocked in front off the shin guards of Gallatin. Now it's taken in the circle, fired towards the net by Rylan Van Unen. And now a weird bounce toward the front in the body of the big Riley Funk, who battles for it now 2-on-2 along the near side boards. Bettens. Back to, this is Pierce behind the goal for UMD. He loses it in the skates momentarily, but with Northern changing, now UMD will get control in its own defensive zone. 4 minutes gone in the opening period, 7-1 the shots, but all 7 came on that game-opening power play for UMD. Now this is Pap, 1-on-2 as he enters. Doubles back, maintains control. A long backhander is gloved and held by Zach Staskal. And Christoph Pap, who had that shot on goal, Dave, one of several international players on this Northern Michigan roster.
There is a tradition at the Barrie Event Center, guys, that they put up the home flags of all the guys on the roster. They're running out of room right now because there are so many that are out there. A lot of Europeans and from different places, too. They've done a great job really massing these guys together and making it like the United Nations in Marquette. They work really well together, and the one you mentioned already is the name we've been waiting for all season. Viking Gustafsson Nyberg, and I can't believe he's not playing for Augustana with a name like that, right?
Well, it's a testament to the recruiting and the coaching staff going out and finding these players. You know, we've seen a lot of success. St. Cloud's done a great job.
Centering pass here as Lowhite fires wide for UMD.
Other programs have gone out internationally, and not just Canada and U.S. obviously, but across the pond. So it's the new thing in college hockey, and Northern's done a great job, Grant Patalny and his staff.
We are pretty sure that Christoph Pap and Benny Halaz, the two Hungarians on the roster, are the only two Hungarians in college hockey. And they did not come in as a package deal. Pap was a transfer that came in from Michigan State. Halaz is a great story we'll get into tonight. He came in from New Mexico because former Wildcat Phil Fox was the head coach there and knew that the Wildcats needed a goalie, and this is the guy that you can really help you. And they kind of went, yeah, well, we'll do it as a favor for you, Phil. And now they're loving this guy. Benny Halaz has really taken that spot in the pipes and made it his own.
Well, recruiting in college hockey, guys, it's a lot about pipelines and establishing those relationships with those junior programs, those international programs that we've seen in the last few years. You know, St. Cloud grabbing some Finland natives in the last few years, having success over there. Obviously, the Hungarian connection, even though they weren't related. But that's a pipeline. When these kids grow up in these countries and they see their countrymen playing in these college hockey programs, that inspires them to want to be there too, and they reach out, and it's a good thing about college hockey is the international flair that we have these days.
And it's easier for the smaller programs too, because you don't have that bright lights of, well, I can play in Minneapolis, or what's the difference between Minneapolis and Sault Ste. Marie?
Right.
If I'm in Finland, I don't know the difference, so maybe you got an easier chance of getting them over.
So for UMD fans trying to draw a connection when thinking of Hungary to Marquette, think Hermantown to UMD. Same thing, right, Judd?
Similar, yeah.
You get them all, right?
Face-off in the UMD defensive zone. 5 minutes gone here in the opening period after that icing on the Bulldogs. Blowing a tire there at the far side was Zinger. The puck into the corner. This is McMenamin, the transfer from Penn State. Back to Goetz, one of those Hermantown natives. Plays it along the end boards. This is Biondi. He fights for it there. Wins the puck. Does Biondi. Zinger pushes him to the end wall. Gets some help from Gustafsson Nyberg, who flips it out to center. And that's going to be an icing on Northern Michigan.
I'll tell you, the Northern Defense Corps so far have won a few one-on-one battles down low, out-muscling in this situation Blake Biondi. They did it on the penalty kill as well, those little one-on-one battles in those danger areas down low, and that's a huge key to their success tonight. If they can win those one-on-one battles, they're going to stay out of trouble, and UMD's not going to be able to establish that forecheck and that cycling and the puck possession that they want to get.
Face off to the left of Halaz. Slakinski, the Warroad native, wins it for Northern Michigan. freshman this year. Minnesota hockey fans might remember the 2020 Minnesota High School State Tournament. He scored 12 points in that tourney. That was tied for the most of a single tournament since Duluth East Dave Spihar in 1996. It had been a while since that type of individual performance, and Grant Slakinski did that just a few years ago.
Yeah, I remember watching that. He was impressive. He's a big body, too. I mean, I'm excited to see him progress his career.
UMD fans will be excited for another Warroad kid, Jason Shagabe, who will be here, we think, to start next season as a freshman. A lot of buzz around his arrival on campus, as here comes Northern Michigan at the line. They played it to the middle. Funk and Bast battle into the corner. It takes two Bulldogs to take Riley Funk to the ice, 6'3", and he looks an awful lot bigger from up here. Now to the middle. This is Spicer for the Bulldogs. Fires a shot. That was deflected wide. Bast back to Spicer at the point. Bounced around, comes to Steves in the high slot. He's taken away by Artem Schlein, one of the captains for the Wildcats. Drives wide on Dubinsky, blows a tire there, and Spicer takes over possession for UMD.
Well, good back check there by Steves to back check on the puck there. You let the defenseman play the body. He comes in, picks up that loose puck, and gets out of trouble in a hurry. That's what coaches talk about, back checking the puck. Let the defenseman take the man, and you can come in and swoop that puck right up, and that's exactly what Steves did there.
James at the line has it taken away by Papp as he tried to move it to the middle. Now Schlein, area pass for Papp just out of his reach. Bass goes crashing into the end boards. It's taken now by Latch. He gives it to Van Unen. That's Michael Van Unen. He fired one toward the goal. Not sure it ever got to Stayskull. And now it's Dominic James. He moves it ahead for Olsen at the line. Drops for James in the circle to Olsen. Thought he wanted to wrap around instead. Back to the point. It's Goetz, a long shot. Tipped a couple times on the way through. Bodnerchuk pinches down on the wall for UMD. Latch clears the zone. Olsen back defensively. Tried a long pass ahead for Bodnerchuk. He gets it ahead for James at the line. 1-on-3 as he's converged on by all of those Wildcats defensively. Jack Perbix, the Elk River kid. He will move it ahead now for Northern Michigan. Gone to, sleeves for Perbix. Perbix a shot, Stayskull, a save, clearly his best of the night. Bodnerchuk can't move it ahead. UMD a bit sloppy in its own defensive zone, but now they get the clearance, and Olsen will dump in for the Bulldogs.
Well, that's what I mean about Gantos, guys. When you're watching those plays, he's got eyes in the back of his head looking for that back cut and finding the open man.
Yeah, he made a great skill play there on that drop pass, sucked everyone into him, and then left it for the trailer.
3-on-1 battle for the moment at the far side. Some help now for Northern Michigan. Gallatin takes the puck over. He's bothered by the forecheck, but moves it ahead through the skates of McMenamin, and that will be another icing here on UMD. Nearly 9 minutes gone, opening frame. The shot's 7-3.
Like the pacing. It's a lot better to start from last week when you saw a lot of clogged up areas with Michigan Tech here. We've been a lot more fire wagon tonight. This is a lot of fun.
A little more up and down. Not sure that's what Scott Sandlin wants, but he is all about quick transitions. When they get that puck possession in their defensive zone or in the neutral zone, he wants them going right away up the ice. That's the way this team will play all year.
We've said a couple times already, he said he didn't watch a lot of Northern Michigan. They haven't played yet this year. That contributed to it, but he's more focused on what his guys do. And he said, this is going to be a different style game than we saw last weekend against Michigan Tech. These guys are happy winning 5-4, whereas UMD and Michigan Tech, a lot of times you want them to win 2-1.
Yeah.
Messick tried to move it off the boards for Northern. It comes back to the circle. This is Loney, walks in. Saved by Halas. Good save there as Loney had a lot of time and space near the faceoff dot.
He did. I thought he maybe could have went back door there. Looked like he had Mangini on the far side there, but he smartly just threw it on net, maybe hoping for a rebound.
Mangini now in the corner for the Bulldogs. Leaves it for Jack Smith. Pierce winds, doesn't fire the tip in front. Loney was high and wide. Slakinski goes off the boards, and Dielstra will, I think, no, it's taken away by Mangini. Great play by the freshman defensively. Now it's Smith to the middle. Loney, it was just on his backhand, and Northern will relieve the pressure. It's a 3-on-2, but peeling off for a line change was one of those, and they're in offside. We will step aside. Still scoreless here between the Bulldogs and the Wildcats on My 9 Sports, the Great TV Network.
Hard work builds strength, and strength can help you get through life.
Neutral zone face-off here, won by Cole Spicer for UMD. Bodnar-Chuk across for Goats. He fires it ahead at the northern line. That's Steves, who will shovel it in for the Bulldogs. Off the glass and out to center through Dealstra and back to Goats for the Bulldogs. He angles one that's tipped in by Spicer, and Gallagher is back to chase it. He gives it to Michael Van Unen. Gallagher bangs one off the boards and out to center. They'll wave off the icing, so Goats in a foot race along with Ryland Van Unen. He's 1-on-2 for the moment as Northern changes behind him. Dangerous looking pass out in front, and now a stretch pass intended for Steves. That's out of his reach, and icing on UMD. Let's go back between the benches to Alexis Bass.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. While last weekend's game against Michigan Tech didn't go down as a win, the Bulldogs did win the shootout. Scott Slannon said this week he had a lot to smile about. He liked more good things than bad things. He's just really focused on making sure that this team gets back to their identity, focusing on things that they can control, and knows that Northern Michigan was going to bring it to them for them too today. Zach?
And you guys were both in the building last weekend. 2-2 officially, it's a tie, but the shootout win, it felt like more of a victory for UMD last weekend.
Always does. You know,
Yeah.
when you come up with something at the end, of course that's going to feel that way, and I know a lot of people thought like that, but there wasn't really a team trophy that you get from it. It's just that good feeling when you get back in the locker room.
It's definitely a better feeling going into practice for the week when you can win a shootout, having that week of practice, coming off the ice, knowing, yeah, you got a little bragging rights. Doesn't really mean much in the standings, but you get the bragging rights, and practice is a lot more fun on Monday than it does if you lose that game in a shootout.
Takeaway now right in front as Olsen has it poked away at the last second by Halaz. Now behind the goal, low height throws a big hit. Pionk will pinch down for the Bulldogs. James in the corner, converged on by two Wildcats who relieve the pressure now to the far side. This is Papp. Pinching down was Gallatin. He spun Papp around, but out to center ice come the Cats. Turnover at the line. Olsen the other way for the Bulldogs. Olsen tried to toe drag and fire, and it's in on Halaz. Olsen with an extra jab at the end that will draw the ire of some of the Northern Michigan players, and some pushing and shoving and maybe some theatrics after the whistle. But will give us a chance to talk about UMD Stores, which has the area's largest selection of UMD wear and is open 7 days a week. Stop by today to see the newest gear for fans of all ages. The store opens 7 days a week on campus on Kirby Drive, or you can shop online anytime, anywhere at umdstores.com.
Hey guys, I want you to pay attention to the Northern Michigan D-zone coverage. When the puck's in their zone, they play a very pro-like D-zone coverage where they have five guys collapse right down. You'll see their wingers come all the way down to literally the tops outside in the hash marks, right in the slot area, in the house we like to call it. And they're collapsing down, just smothering pucks in the corner. Good support there. Center support, wingers come all the way down, and they're not giving up anything in the middle of the ice. And that's kind of what you see a lot in the NHL these days, and you'll see that here.
It does mean, though, Judd, that you can leak a guy to the back door, and he's going to be available if you can get him the puck.
Well, you'll see UMD try to go low to high. They'll throw it back to the point and then crash the net and just try to throw pucks there and look for a tip or a rebound.
Dubinsky and Kalela battle in that far side corner, out to center ice. This is McMenamin leads the charge. He has Bast in the drop. He gives it to him. Blockers save Halaz. Gantos controls now for Northern Michigan. Back behind the goal. Bandu will slow things down for the Wildcats. 8 minutes to go in this opening period. The shot's 10-3, but 3-3 since that opening power play for the Bulldogs. So it's been very even as we played 5-on-5 since that game-opening power play, but now Gantos takes a retaliatory penalty against McMenamin there at center, and UMD will be back on the power play.
What's the old adage? You always see the second one,
well,
right?
And you got to be responsible for your stick. That was that one. I don't think he meant to. I think he got knocked over, and his stick was laying out, and that's what he's saying. His stick was just laying on the ice, and McMenamin happened to kind of step on it, to be honest. And so that's a bad break, I would say.
Well, and he's one of their top penalty killers,
Yeah.
too, so that hurts double when he goes into the box. And I know you've seen Halaj a little bit already, but the one thing that always impresses me about him, Judd, he is the best at getting in position for a rebound that I've seen in a long time in college hockey. He'll make that first save, but watch the recovery time for him to get back in. He's a battling goaltender. He's not a guy who's going to beat you with position all the time, but watch how fast he's back and ready for the second shot, even when it's right on top of him.
James wins the faceoff here for the Bulldogs. Gallatin at the point, their second Minnesota power play of the game. Gallatin to James, top of the near circle, walks in to Lohheit, below the goal line. James across, intended for Olsen. It's tipped away and now out of the zone by Connor Eddy, who comes in shorthanded. He fires and it's tipped away by Gallatin. UMD will pick it up. Steves and James collide. Olsen, a full steam ahead, down the left wing, in behind the goal. Takes a big hit there behind the goal from Gallagher. And the puck now out of play at that far side. Some more pushing and shoving as these two teams, old conference foes, get reacquainted.
A little sandpaper here tonight.
I like it.
They don't see each other very often, but it's cats and dogs right away, isn't it?
You got a lineup sprinkled with a lot of Western Canadian guys. I'm just throwing that out there. Being one of those guys, it's not gonna be easy. Nothing's gonna be easy.
You guys are moody. These two teams haven't played for a couple years. The last time a couple years ago in Marquette, that was the only two starts of Ben Pat's career as the third goaltender for UMD. So we'll be fondly remembered, 2 losses, but it was fun to see him get in game action for the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs were #1 in the country then, if I remember correctly.
That is correct. 2 goaltenders. It was through the COVID area. I believe there was 1 injury, and then 1 was out due to protocol, and so Ben Pat thrust into action his only regular season games in a UMD uniform.
Played pretty well. Just a couple of late goals snuck in there at the tail end. It was a great series.
Power play continues here for UMD. Another minute with the man advantage. Number 2 unit out there. Perkins, top of the near circle, walks in, tried to go to the top of the crease. Biondi has it there, can't get his stick free, and a penalty coming. I believe it's to Northern Michigan as Pionk will pick it up, moves it ahead quickly. Delayed call on the Wildcats. 45 seconds to go in the 5-on-4. Ends will touch up, and a 5-on-3 for 42 seconds coming to UMD.
It's going to be Mikey Colella that draws the call, just kind of snuck that stick in there to try to prevent that shot up at the top of the slot. He got caught out of position, lost his feet a little bit, and when that happens, especially first couple of games of the year, you get caught reaching.
Yeah,
and that's what happened.
Biondi had a pretty good chance right there in the slot where he was trying to find the handle on the puck there and got tied up, like you said, Dave. So this is a huge opportunity right now. The first part of this power play was not great for UMD. They haven't been able to get quality looks. They've been moving the puck on the perimeter. 5-on-3 opportunity. They're going to talk about this here, but this is a big point of the game here. This is something that the coaching staff look to. Again, if the good teams know to go for the jugular in situations like this early in a game, when you get a 5-on-3 on home ice, you gotta make the other team pay.
Grant Patolny having a word with the officials after the third penalty call against his team this period. The first was a protocol, but 2 since then have gone against the Wildcats. 5-on-3 for the Bulldogs for 42 seconds. James to Gallatin, back to James. Gallatin, far side one-timer. Steves missed the net. Might have been blocked in front by the northern defense. Now to the front, they score. Ben Steves, a power play goal. UMD leads it 1-0.
Well, that's a Ben Steves goal right there. You can see the quick release. Goaltender was not ready for that because he thought he was going to go backdoor with it, but he just snaps it, doesn't dust it off, doesn't stick handle it, just boom, quick release. That puck jumps to him in the slot. Again, a big opportunity. UMD takes advantage of it. Ben Steves with his first goal here, UMD's leading goal scorer last year.
Do you get double points for a double 5-hole because he put it through the legs of Aiden Gallagher and through the legs of Benny Halaz? In croquet, that's like a double hit. That's pretty good.
Steves, the top returning scorer for UMD, had 21 goals in last year's freshman campaign, and they'll be looking for him, hoping that he can repeat it. One-timer from the far side, they score! Luke Bast, his first as a Bulldog, a power play goal, it's 2-0.
Well, guys, I said this is a big moment for them to take advantage of, and I think they've done that so far. 2 goals here in the matter of a minute or less. It was Aaron Pionk throws it over as they walked in on a little mini 3-on-2 there off the wall. And Bast, the transfer from University of North Dakota, gets his first in a Bulldog uniform on a slap shot. He almost looked like he kind of fanned on that a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it was just my eyes deceiving me, but he went kind of far side over the blocker.
No, I think you're right. And actually, Judd, that's the first time I think I've ever seen a guy go down to one knee, but he didn't put it on the ice. It was still up in the air when he hit it. So that's a tough one. And you knew the next penalty call was coming against UMD. Right off the draw, that's where that happened. Grant Patulny talked to Byron Poole on the bench just for a second. They considered the timeout there, I'm pretty sure. They decided to let it ride, probably the right move, and now they're going to end up with a man advantage out of it.
Yeah, that's Carter Loney headed to the box. I think they call it a slash, like you said, Dave, right off the draw. So now Northern gets their opportunity to fight back into this game, down 2-0 on those power play goals.
This is interesting to me too, Judd, because normally on a penalty, you would move that next face-off down into the offensive end, but coming off of a goal, apparently it stays at center ice, just like it did right at the beginning of the game.
Right, they didn't even drop the puck. They must have called that at the end of that sequence that led to the Bast goal, the transfer from North Dakota, and now a chance in front for Schlane. He fans on it, and UMD gets the early clear as Northern Michigan starts its first Minnesota power play of the evening.
No, I did come right before the face-off down there, Zach, because you guys were still writing, and I was looking up and saw the mix-up.
Now Ganthouse to the far side, Schlane. And he can again pull the trigger, but he gets it back now in the circle. The Wildcats will get set up. Zinger to the far side, one-timer, saved by Stayskal. Northern controls, Ganthouse to the far side, now Zinger at the point. One-timer again, that's blocked off by Goetz. Didn't get all of that one, did Tanner Latch, who's got the puck back now. 45 seconds gone. Pap to Zinger, he tried a one-timer, some big slappers being attempted. Nothing getting through so far, and UMD will get a clear from the stick of Riley Bodnerchuk.
Zinger's the key on these. He likes to be the guy at the top, not only distributing the puck, but he'll shoot it himself too. An all-rookie selection in his league last year. He's definitely a revelation, but he's not going to be on this second unit now.
45 seconds to go as coming through center is Perbix. He gets to the UMD line and forced to double back. Now shovels it rink wide. They'll enter the zone. This is Colella. He's canceled out but moves the puck around to the near side. James tried a big clear. Takes a hit for his trouble. Dealstra moves it to the point. Van Unen. Far side. Ganthouse can't control. Back behind. It comes back to the point. This is Dealstra. He fires, pad save, Stayskal. Moved around to the far side. Messick. Van Unen, Dealstra, save made Stayskal. The rebound in front, jammed at by Perbix, and Stayskal had to make another save. Back to 5-on-5 as Loney is released. The puck out to center ice, and we're back to even strength.
Well, Northern got a couple of good looks there. They worked it around, got some good one-time opportunities, good quality chances, but Stagecall did a nice job sealing the bottom of the net with those big pads and kept everything in front of them.
3.5 minutes to go. UMD protecting a 2-0 lead here in the opening period thanks to back-to-back power play goals from Ben Steeves and Luke Bast. Now a bouncing puck to Bettens. A shot, he scores! Kyle Bettens! The Bulldogs lead it 3-0.
Well, an unfortunate bounce for Northern Michigan. When this puck enters the zone, it hits the partition and bounces right to the middle of the ice. And the big fella, Kyle Bettens, who I thought had a great game last Saturday night, used his presence, his body, physically, gets involved tonight offensively. Nice little move. He picks it up, makes a move to the backhand, and puts it in for this 3-0 lead.
He was my pick to click in overtime last week. He finally came through for me, but That's a great move to get in that close and be able to elevate the puck that quickly, because the pad was there for Halas. If he tried to go low, went top shelf, that's where the opening was.
He was one of those freshmen last year that started to come on in the second half of the season. If UMD is going to get where they want to go, he might be a player that has to take another step. He gets his first of the year tonight. And the Bulldogs all of a sudden out to a 3-goal lead. Now a long stretch pass ahead for Spicer. He tips it in and will give chase. Van Unen leaves for Gallagher, who starts it out for Northern Michigan. Van Unen chased by McMenamin. Lays it ahead. It's through Gallatin, who will give chase. The Wildcats changing. So a free exit here for UMD as Gallatin starts from behind his own goal. Through McMenamin, the bouncing puck again toward the net. Zinger this time muscles off Perkins, and Ganthouse will flip it out to center. Fast. Fights for it at the UMD line, gets some help from McMenamin, the transfer from Penn State. He has his pocket picked by Ganthouse. And now they battle along the near side boards, 2-on-2 with 2 lurking. Ganthouse. Along with Messick. The puck up to the point. It's whacked at there by UMD. And Dubinsky now, as Northern will change, will fire it ahead. It's tipped in by Perkins. And ends back behind his own goal. 90 seconds to play here in period number 1. All of a sudden, it's being dominated on the scoreboard by UMD. Picked the pocket did Dominic James. Centering pass, though, taken away by Northern Michigan. The other way they come. This is Messick on the far side. He's going to try and center. Pushed nicely to the wall by Darian Goetz. The puck now at a sharp angle, fired toward the goal. Continuing on his path there was Christoph Papp, but UMD able to get it deep with 60 seconds to play in period number 1.
Well, Darian Goetz, there you see the difference a year makes. Just a solid defensive play there. He outmuscles the Northern Michigan player. Maybe in the last couple of years, that's one where he loses that battle. Not this year. He steps up physically, pushes everything to the outside, and UMD is able to get up the ice.
Gallatin now fires it around to the far side. Final 45 seconds. Slakinski picks it up. Gallatin again crashes down from the point. Mingini tried to go through the legs to the middle. That was knocked back to the boards by the Northern defense. Messick behind the goal. It's wrapped around there by Bandu. Loney. Below the goal line, it's Smith. He tried to make a move, fell down. Comes to Mangini, and now back behind the goal is the UMD forecheck. Doing its job here in the final 60 seconds. Pins Northern Michigan up. And now the Wildcats will clear with just 5 seconds to go. That is how period number 1 will come to a close here in Duluth. A good period if you're a Bulldogs fan. 3-0 UMD leads Northern Michigan after 1. We'll take a break. The Super One Foods Intermission Report right after this on My9 Sports, the Gray TV network. UMD got 3 quick goals in the opening period, 3-0. The Bulldogs lead the Wildcats of Northern Michigan. The middle of those 3 goals was scored by transfer defenseman Luke Bast, who is joined by our Alexis Bass on the ice.
Luke, you're now playing in your second game here at Amsoil, but you score your first goal. Take me through that last goal that you just scored for UMD, making that 3-0 lead for this team right now.
Yeah, no, it was a great play by Macker off the wall there to get it to Pio, and Pio just had to slide it over, and I didn't really have to do a whole lot. I just had to hit it and make contact, and I was lucky enough to do that.
And I asked you during the break, I said, when was the last time you scored your first goal, or when was your first goal in North Dakota? And you said it was pretty similar.
It was actually identical. Same spot, same side of the rink. Like I say, I don't know, it must be my lucky spot, I guess.
Earlier this week, your coach said this team, Northern Michigan, was going to bring a lot of offensive firepower. But you guys have brought the offensive firepower so far in this first period. How are you going to mirror that into the second period to hold on to this lead?
Yeah, no, I don't think we have to change much of what we're doing. Obviously, our specialty teams were pretty good that period, and you know, we got to stay out of the box in this second period, and I think we like our chances when we play 5-on-5 against this team.
Thanks, Luke. Good luck in the second period.
Thank you.
Guys, back up to you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Alexis. It was from that spot last year that freshman Ben Steeves made his name on the UMD power play en route to scoring a team-high 21 goals. Well, Steeves had a power play goal in that period, and from that spot, Luke Bass scores his second goal of his collegiate career, his first as a Bulldog, and they followed that up with a 5-on-5 goal from sophomore Kyle Bettens. That is a 3-0 lead for UMD. We're going to take another break. More on the Super One Foods intermission report coming up next on My 9 Sports, the Gray TV network.
What has that been like, kind of trekking through some of those things and just knowing, like, hey, this is my comeback year?
Yeah, I think, like you said, just comeback here. I'm just hungry. I think that's the overall vibe in the locker room too. I think obviously it wasn't the year we wanted to have last year, and now we're just extra hungry, and that's the same mindset I have, I guess, going into it, and it's had that for about 8-9 months now since I got hurt. So.
Coming back from your injury, of course, most athletes unfortunately go through adversity, through injury. What have you learned most about yourself during that time, now coming back healthy and whole and ready to go?
Yeah, I think just taking care of my whole overall well-being, just mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just everything has come together for me, and I'm just doing my best to take care of that aspect, and then I think everything else just falls into place, especially physically, especially just out on the ice. So yeah, that's where it started.
I know that faith is a main part of your life and an important part of your life, and I can imagine that it played such a heavy role in your recovery process. How did you allow that to help you keep the main things the main things?
Yeah, I think that's something that I definitely took a major dive into, just understanding that, you know what, God judges me, and He's going to be there for me no matter what, and everything that I do, and like I lived it. Obviously it can get taken away really quick. Hockey can get taken away super fast, and I think that was his way, just putting me back in the right spot and showing me, this is what's important, and now I think for me I can go out and I guess still have a major purpose in hockey, but be able to show that I'm a believer, and obviously just stay true to my faith and spread His word that way.
What new identity have you found personally after your injury, knowing even as a believer that you aren't just Blake Biondi, the hockey player?
Yeah. No, that's the biggest thing for me. Like I said, when I have things, just dialed in mentally, and I'm taking care of, like you said, just my faith, and I'm diving deeper into those things, especially, family is huge for me as well. We all kind of come together. There were some different things off the ice that I went through that, brought me closer to certain people that, I think for me was super important for just success this year at all, and just my overall well-being. So,
do you look back on all of this and have a sense or spirit of gratitude as you move forward coming into this year?
Oh, absolutely. That's probably the biggest thing. I mean, hunger is one thing that I live by when I go out and play, but then it's just gratefulness that I get to go out and play now again. Like it's when it gets taken away, you really realize that, oh my, it's tough. I don't want to be sitting and watching the stands anymore. I just want to go play. I don't want to do rehab anymore. So being able to go out and skate every single day and compete with your best friends, it's just, yeah, gratitude.
Welcome back to Amsoil Arena, where UMD jumped all over Northern Michigan in the opening 20 minutes, 3 goals in a span of 2 minutes, 48 seconds for the Bulldogs, including power play goals just 15 seconds apart. And the Bulldogs lead the Wildcats 3-0 after 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was kind of a flurry of activity with that 5-on-3. UMD able to capitalize not once, but twice, 5-on-3, then 5-on-4, back-to-back. And then kind of got a lucky bounce off a linesman or a partition in the glass, and to Bettens, who pops it in as we just saw there. So a pretty good period for UMD, I'd say, with a couple of lucky breaks, but they certainly took advantage of it.
There's some grit out there, though, too, guys. These teams already, after 20 minutes, don't like each other. That's going to make for some interesting hockey here in the second and third.
Yeah, I think we were talking some other members of the media. This could end up being kind of a fire wagon 6-5, 7-6 type of hockey game if never count Northern Michigan out. Obviously, they scored a lot of goals last year, and they got a lot of firepower in that lineup. So we got a lot of hockey left, guys.
And you would think that the scoreline might favor a Northern Michigan style team that's up and down the ice, likes to score a lot of goals versus a Scott Sandlin coach team. But to score 3 goals in a period, they did it in a very Scott Sandlin way. Take advantage of your power plays and then capitalize on that lucky break, like you said, the bounce off the glass.
Well, their forecheck was really good, I thought, UMD's, and that's the Scott Sandlin style of hockey, right? Get in on pucks first, be hungry, like kind of we talked about a key for Northern was to hound pucks and be hungry. And UMD actually did that maybe a little bit better in that first period and caused a lot of turnovers and capitalized on these chances as we're seeing here.
It was like role reversal there of what we talked about. Northern Michigan wanted to shorten the rink and make it a 100-foot sheet, and I thought the Bulldogs did that right to them going out there. Yeah. Is it the first 20 minutes of the year? Maybe there's a little bit of that to it when you're just coming off the bus, but
yeah, I think
there's still more to it here.
I think so, yeah.
Teams are coming back on the ice here for the start of the second period here at Amsoil Arena. Let's go down to our Alexis Bass, who's joined by assistant coach Cody Chupp.
Cody, your team showed up big on special teams. What did you like about the way that they capitalized in that first period?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a little bit weird starting the game with a power play or shorthanded for that matter, but you know, it was nice to finally get a little bit of mojo going, and it was, I think, thanks to our special teams. So credit to those guys to be able to find a way. Obviously, a 5-on-3, those are situations where they can really turn the tide of the game. You have to capitalize in those situations.
Thanks, Cody. Good luck in the second.
Thank you.
Guys, something's back to you.
Cody Chupp knows a lot about the Wildcats, a former Ferris State Bulldog. Played against them a number of games back in what was then the WCHA, now the CCHA.
Yeah, he's been a great addition here to the coaching staff. They've turned a few over in the last few years with Derek Plant, who's now the assistant coach for Chicago, you know, the Plant name obviously, and had to fill some positions, him and Adam Kraus helping Scott Sandlin, Brant Nicklin on board. Some great names, a couple of former Bulldogs, and so it's a good thing.
Derek has a front row seat, of course, to the hottest story in the NHL, at least to start this season, the Connor Bedard show. We'll have to ask him later this year how he coaches that kid. What does he add to the game? What does he see out of the 18-year-old? As we'll take a look at the stats through the opening 20 minutes for UMD and Northern Michigan.
Well, the big one on top there, obviously the 3-0 lead. Again, UMD outshooting their opponent like we saw last weekend against Michigan Tech. I think they put up 50-plus shots on goal and on their way tonight with a 13-7 lead.
And if you would have seen hits and turnovers in there, that's got to be a 2-1 margin right now. Minnesota Duluth really controlling the physical part of the play in that first period as well.
9 of those 13 shots on goal for UMD in that opening period came on the power play. 7 on the opening power play that they did not score on, and then 1 shot apiece on the next 2. The goals from Steeves and Bast. Dubinsky flips it ahead. Biondi will knock it in for the Bulldogs. McMenamin gives chase in the corner. Back to Biondi in the corner. You heard from him during that intermission report, one of the guys that UMD hopes can return and be an impact-type player offensively. He missed the entire second half of the year last season with those 2 shoulder injuries. Sandlin has said he's looked good. He was banged up a bit through the September, but nothing to do with the shoulders. Now a penalty coming to UMD as that centering pass knocked away from Northern Michigan, but the Wildcats will go to their second power play of the game.
Well, speaking of Blake Biondi, it's going to be Blake going off for 2 minutes or less here for a hooking penalty. He came back into the zone on the back check and got a little active with that stick, trying to tie up a Northern player getting to the net. And he's going to serve 2 minutes or less. All right,
a little mix on that line there, too, with Slukinski now between Gantos and Koella. So a little change up and a different look for Grant Patulli and his team, and it worked in that first shift.
Wildcats win the faceoff here to start the Minnesota power play, their second of the game. To the point. Now to the far side. Walking in, down low. Schlane tried to throw it through the crease area. It's deflected by UMD and out to center. Zinger is chased by Mangini. Mangini and Smith, 2 young killers for Scott Sandlin. Thought they did a very good job last week. Now here comes Northern Michigan on the rebound. They score. It's Andre Gantus, the captain for the Wildcats, a power play goal. And Northern Michigan on the board.
He was the trailer on that play, guys, and I'm not sure what Bulldog reached in a stick in the middle of the ice and dropped the twig, and that made it, in effect, a 5-on-3 at that point. When that happens and you recognize that play and you've got possession, get to the net as quick as you can, and that meant no one was taking up the trailer. And that's where Gantos went down. If you find the puck in the middle of the slot like that, like he just did, no problem there. He is a good enough player on that drop to be able to make that the right play, put it in the right spot, and no chance for Stejskal to goaltend.
Yeah, he went to the net hard there looking for that follow-up shot, and he certainly buried that. It was Mangini, the player for UMD in the neutral zone, that dropped his stick. He's a kid that didn't kill a lot of penalties, I don't think, in the last couple of years. Kind of Sandlin throwing him out there. Again, that certainly wasn't his fault there, but again, you know, you obviously lose your stick in the neutral zone, like you said, Dave. You shorthand your team even more, and that's what kind of happened there off the rush.
Grant Patolny this week said at times during his career, now in its 5th year, Andre Gantus has been the best player in our conference. He needs to find some more consistency, but he's shown flashes that he can be one of the better scorers, not just in our conference, but really the entire country. Now, how do the Bulldogs respond? Back to 5-on-5, Gallatin. Long shot that was deflected high in the air, and now taken on by Northern Michigan, flipped out to center, out of the reach of Funk. He takes a hit from Bettens. The Bulldogs get the puck back in deep. Halaz will give way now to Michael Van Unen, one of twin brothers on this team, he and Ryland Van Unen. Not identical twins, but twins nonetheless. Michael, the older as far as class. He's a graduate defenseman, while Ryland, a senior forward for Northern Michigan. This is Bast, winds and fires, and a diving block by Colby ends, directs that puck into the high netting for Northern Michigan.
Well, you see Bast there kind of point, my bad, my bad. You don't see slap shots a lot more now in hockey. If you think about it, guys, it's one of those things, it's kind of a lost art because, I mean, as we see here, just a little bit too much time versus that quick snapshot. These guys shoot the puck so hard and so quick with these new sticks. Most of the time, it's just a quick snapshot. There he takes the big windup, and it allows Northern to get over and get a piece of that shot. So, and he knew it right away.
Well, the equipment guys like that, too, because you don't want those $300 twigs snapping on every shift out there either.
I got a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old. I know about sticks being broken that are $300, let me tell you.
Slap shots outlawed in the Medic household.
Yeah. They're not strong enough to take slap shots anyways.
Mangini forces the takeaway, far side circle, out of the feet of Loney. Far side wall now will leave for Smith. Loney moved to the wing for the first couple games this season for Scott Sandlin. He too was banged up in the month of September, so last weekend just trying to get him in the lineup, keep him out of the middle. But Sandlin said it worked pretty well, so we're going to keep him there as long as it's working with Jack Smith in the middle, Anthony Mangini on the other wing of that fourth line for UMD.
Well, that line's been great. The forechecking ability of them, they've created a lot of things. So why not keep them together?
Colella fires a shot, blocked in front by Pierce, and the rebound turned aside by Stejskal. Right on the doorstep there was Michael Messick. Now 2-on-2 battle below the goal line. Out in front is Perbix, fires one off the pads of Stejskal. Battle for it at the near side, and a whistle with some pushing and shoving to come afterwards. The helmet flies off one of the Bulldogs in that melee. That is Darian Goetz, who continues, and each team will get a penalty. Goetz and Gantus out of that scrum.
Yeah, the undercard over in the crease with Colella was just as good, too. Had to pick one if you're the low official, like, all right, we'll take this two instead. But look at Colella in there with the battle with Mangini and then pushing out. I'm going to take two of you guys at one time. You could have taken it just as easy from the other side of the rink. I love it. Sandpaper, grit.
Oh, it's only Goetz that is getting the penalty here, as he was engaged with Gantus. I thought they were taking them both, but only Goetz in the box right now for UMD.
Yeah, well, put the hand up right underneath the grill. Is that where it came from?
I mean, the referee looked like he signaled, pointed at Goetz, and then pointed at another player. We could see it said both of you are going, and
I thought so
must have changed his mind. I'm not sure how you get just one guy out of that deal. I mean, take them both, obviously. It's mutual. Let them play, but
Scott Sandlin expressing much of the same to the officiating crew here tonight, but nonetheless, Northern Michigan back to the Minnesota power play after Gantus got them on the board just moments ago. And a Bulldog without a stick comes to the near side, a shot, they score! Tanner Latch from the near side face-off circle, a power play goal. It's 3-2.
He sat out with a lower body injury last year, guys, and they really liked his quick release. They wanted to get him into the lineup, and that's exactly what you need to do when you're running that fast passing out there. Schlein is normally the guy that would take that shot, so the defenders have to respect him standing on the hash marks, and it's just enough time for Lash to get that one off. What did we say before, Jed? This game could turn on a dime, and guess what it did?
Well, they took advantage. A couple of power plays, 2 for 2 now. Referees are talking about something here. I don't know. I don't think it have anything to do with the goal, but what an effort by this Northern team. A totally different team so far. They come out. Obviously, they take advantage of their power play, but they initiated the play. They got in. They got to the net. They caused, they were forechecking, causing that penalty there, drawing the penalty, excuse me. And all of a sudden, they're back in this hockey game. Big time.
Just 10 seconds needed on that power play for Northern Michigan. It's 3-2. Perkins on the attack, centering pass, sticked away by Halaz. Far side Biondi to Gallatin. He fired one toward the net. It was taken away by Van Unen. Colella moves it to the far side. Walking in is Perbix, driven wide by Gallatin, who dispossesses him in the corner. Ahead at the blue line, McMenamin and Perkins, 2-on-2 as they cross the line. Tried a little crisscross, but it's defended well by Northern, and out to center ice the puck comes. Past the 5-minute mark of period number 2. A lot has been happening, most of it for the guys in green. They get 2 power play goals, and we're back to a 3-2 hockey game after UMD led by 3 following the first period.
Well, over 5 minutes into this period, UMD without a shot on goal so far, 5-0 for the guys in green.
Flipped in now by the Wildcats. Stayskal out of his goal to play it. It comes to the near boards. This is Bettens trying to dig it out. Good forecheck there by one of the captains, Artem Schlein, who is on it again for Northern Michigan in the corner. The game has turned fairly physical here in period number 2. As Dave mentioned it might after watching the opening 20 minutes between these old friends.
Scoring for Northern Michigan on the power play, number 22, Ken Lash.
Bettens will clear the zone, tried to spring Steves on the breakaway. It's defended well by Gustafson Nyberg. Back on the attack is Northern Michigan. Far side, swept away there by UMD. Now a centering pass, top of the crease. Comes to the point, to shot, they score! Latch, his second of the period. It's tied, 3-3.
Not sure if we're going to get a review on this, guys. There were 2 Northern players that were, if not in the blue paint, definitely very close to it. Right down in the slot. Stayskal had time to finally get back out of there. It looked like they vacated in time, but this is a Northern Michigan team that's always been streaky. And if the streak is bad, things go sour in a hurry. The other way around, it can turn back your direction just as fast. And it looks like Scott Sandlin wants to talk about this, and he'll burn the timeout.
Well, just 6 minutes and 16 seconds into the second period, and Northern Michigan has climbed all the way back. It's a tie hockey game, so 2 very streaky scoring teams, at least so far in this game. The Dogs with their 3 goals in 2 minutes 48 seconds. The Wildcats, their 3 goals in 6 minutes 16 seconds.
Well, whatever Grant Patolny said in between periods worked clearly, as that team, this team has come out on a mission and taken advantage of those power plays. 4 power play goals tonight total, guys, 2 for each team. So, man, we're not kidding when we say this could be a 6-5, 7-6 type of hockey game.
What a debut for redshirt freshman Tanner Latch. 2 goals here in this period. Now he's on the cusp of a hat trick. Judd, you know anybody who had a hat trick in this series anywhere back in the day between Northern and UMD?
Well, I do, because it was one of maybe my only one. I might have one more in college hockey, but I was lucky enough to get one in Marquette many years ago. I don't think they keep record of those games anymore, though.
The very
so long ago.
early years of the Barrie Event Center. And actually, it's been a rough start to the season for them, guys, because the Barrie hasn't been ready. They've reduced the width of the ice surface, and it's not ready to play yet. So Grant Patolny has to truck his team all the way over to Lakeview Arena in Marquette to practice. They still haven't gotten on their own sheet yet. Luckily for them, they've got 2 weeks on the road first before they have their home opener, but they think they'll be ready just in time. If he plays like this on the road in this period, I think he's okay being away from home.
Yeah, it's never bad starting on the road, guys. I mean, that team camaraderie, you get to spend some time. I mean, you eat, breathe, sleep hockey with your teammates. You're on the bus, you're in the hotels. It's actually a great way to come together early on in a season. So no complaints probably from these guys starting off on the road.
So the Bulldogs led 3-0. Now we're tied 3-3. And it's a brand new hockey game midway through the second period. Chance now for Van Unen. This is Ryland off the glove. The rebound, and Stayskal made a pad save. Good thing, because that rebound was left in a precarious spot, but he slides over to make the stop for UMD.
Yeah, I mean, that was a bad rebound, let's be honest, from Stagecall, something we haven't seen in a couple of games. I mean, that last goal by Latch, maybe one he wanted back as well, as it kind of snuck through him. And you'll see this one, he gets all the way over to his left there to make that save, but he kind of had to after giving up that rebound, like you said, Zach.
It still didn't look comfortable on the rebound save either. We talked about Halaj and how good he is at recovering for that second shot. I don't think that's the way that Zach wanted to play that. Don't think he got a good push with that right foot moving over there. That's something you're going to work on with Brant Nicklin during the week.
Shots in the second period, 7-0 in favor of Northern Michigan, and they've evened the score. It's 3-3. And they continue on the hunt. They win the face-off. Stick saved by Stayskal, and out of play. Another draw coming after we take a timeout, I believe, here at Amsoil Arena. No, we'll keep it here for this draw. And now they've changed their mind. We will step aside. 3-3 the score. The Wildcats have tied the game here on My 9 Sports, the Gray TV network. Defensive zone face-off here for UMD after that puck out of play, and a quick shot from Messick is gloved and held by Stayskal. Another face-off coming in the UMD zone. Let's go down between the benches to Alexis Bass.
Thanks, Zach. Well, we got to talk about NCHC Goaltender of the Week, Zach Stagel. This week, Scott Shannon said he was really pleased with his performance last week, saying they wish they would have gotten him the regulation win. As for Zach, he told us he was just excited to be back in what he calls the oil can, saying last year his mindset was different. He focused on way too things, jumping up far, way too in advance, and now he said he's just taking things day by day in order to allow him to be the best goalie and teammate for this team. You guys?
Yeah, thanks very much. Stayskal been under siege so far in this second period. Allowed 3 goals on now 9 shots in this period number 2, just 7.5 minutes in. Messick, a long shot that bounces dangerously top of the crease area, but ends up in the corner, and now it's Low Height who controls for UMD. He flips it ahead for Olsen, but back deep come the Wildcats. Lukinski takes it away from Stayskal, but he gets some help from his defensemen Gallatin and Pierce. Breakout here for the Bulldogs ahead of Pierce, who had jumped up in the play. The Dogs trying to change as Pierce and Spicer chase the puck in the forecheck. Colella, his pass to the middle disrupted, and UMD gets it back in the zone, albeit momentarily, as it's flipped back to center now by Northern Michigan. Fast ahead, that's taken away. 4-on-2 as Northern crosses the line, centering pass. Swept at the far side by Perbix, and Stayskal with a pad on the ice makes the stop for UMD. With a break in the action, let me remind you that the very best in UMD gear is available right now at UMD stores. Jerseys, sweatshirts, t-shirts, caps, and much more. The store open 7 days a week on campus on Kirby Drive, or you can shop online anytime, anywhere at umdstores.com.
Well, Northern doing a much better job closing in on pucks and UMD players when they have the puck, and that's been the difference here in this period. You can see them as they're coming up the ice. UMD, that is, there's a green jersey on them within seconds, like we talked about keys to the game for them. They're doing it here in the second period much better.
Path with the takeaway just inside the UMD line. As you were talking about that, Judd, you mentioned he's got 3 assists, has gotten a helper on each of the Northern goals so far tonight, and he's got the puck again, but they're in ahead of it, offside on the Wildcats.
That's the first time in a while here, Judd, that UMD actually stood up at the blue line. They've been allowing a lot of zone entry the last couple of minutes in here, and Northern's had easy opportunities to get the puck into the offensive zone. That may have been something that Scott Sandlin talked about at the timeout, that, guys, we got to protect that blue line a little bit better.
Stand up a little bit more, and have support from your forwards, knowing that you, as a defenseman, you can stand up and be aggressive on those blue lines because you do have that back support from your forwards coming back.
Bodnerchuk, his outlet pass disrupted. Spicer has to double back the other way for UMD. It's taken away again by Gantus. He gets it back. Gantus, the centering pass, and Colella, the one-timer, missed the net. Up the near board, Spicer will clear the zone for the Bulldogs. Steves ahead for Spicer. Out of his reach, ends. And now Perbix move it up the wall. Out to center ice, Gantus has it. 2-on-2 as they cross the line. Backhand pass, looking for ends. He fooled even his teammate with that pass. Ended up in the feet of ends. Here come the Bulldogs. Steves will flip it in. He'll head to the bench on a change. Betton's the lone forechecker. Funk ends up with the puck for Northern Michigan. He plays it out to center ice. Dielstra in a foot race with Goetz. They'll wave off the icing as Mitch Dielstra wins that race. He's engaged with Goetz in that far corner. Goetz goes down in a heap. No call coming as those two continued after the puck had left. I think it was equal on both parts from what I saw. Now a big hit thrown behind the goal by Luke Lohheit. Pionk throws one toward the net. Halaz the save. The rebound. Shoulder save. Halaz. Jack Smith was on the doorstep. A penalty coming. And I'm not sure, guys, which team it's on.
Well, I think it's Luke Lohheit's going to go here for goaltender interference. Meanwhile, the referee, I don't know if the back one saw it, but there was another hit in the corner that could have been called too. I don't think they called it. The low referee had his eyes in front of the net on Lohheit, who's going to go. They're talking about this here, but could see a 4-on-4 situation here.
I'm not sure if Lohheit actually stepped there, if he put his stick in there and Halaz just stepped on it. Did not look like any kind of a pulling motion.
Tripping the goaltender, the call as Halaz went down in a heap. I honestly didn't see it amidst all the bodies as the puck went to the corner.
It might be the overhead is the only way to see where that stick was and what kind of influence it had in there. But the last thing you want to do if you're the Bulldogs right now is put that red-hot Northern power play back on the ice again.
It's the fourth Minnesota power play of the game for Northern Michigan, their third of this period. They cashed in on the first two. Gantus to Zinger. Zinger a long shot. Stayskal finds it through traffic and makes the glove save.
Well, Schlane's not a guy that you want in there as your traffic in front of the goalie. You want the puck on his stick and down near the hash marks. That just kind of worked out that he was the guy trying to screen the goaltender there. Stayskal can see around him anytime.
Schlane will draw against Loney. Loney wins it to the back boards. It comes around to the far side. Olsen the clear for UMD.
First time the Bulldogs have won the draw on a power play in this period.
Puck bounces to the near side. Schlane enters the zone. Leaves at the point. Zinger walks in. Far side Latch had it hop over his stick. Looking for 3 goals this period is the redshirt freshman Tanner Latch. Now a centering pass comes to Pap. It's cleared away from the crease by Darian Goetz for UMD. Halaz out of his goal to play it forward as both teams try to change. Schlane into the zone, upended by Mangini, and Bodnerchuk will clear to center. In the zone deep was Artem Schlane, so Northern had to delay at the blue line. UMD gets the clear. 1 minute gone, 1 minute to go in this latest power play for Northern Michigan. Perbix enters the zone, leaves it for Dielstra. Van Unen over his stick, but he holds the zone to Messick. Back to Van Unen. Far side circle, fires a shot. Stayskal, I think, directed that one to the end boards. Out to the blue line, off the glove of Van Unen, and out to center. 30 seconds to go in the man advantage for the Wildcats. And Van Unen ahead of the play was Dielstra, and a face-off coming at center ice.
You know, I started wondering if Dielstra was going to look at the other uniforms and think those are the guys that be throwing the puck to, because he came from Ferris State, who's also the Bulldogs. You see that dog on the front? Well, he's not really used to it yet, but A guy who's going to be really important to Northern Michigan this year just because of the leadership quality he's got. They lost a lot of that out of the locker room last year, guys, and Grant Petone really wanted to replace it, and that's why Perbix and Dealstra were such big ads in the offseason.
Top unit back out there for Northern. Zinger a shot blocked by McMenamin. Back to the point. Gantus in the corner. Andre Gantus circles to the near side. Final 5 seconds to the far side. Fires it off the pad. Stayskal, the rebound is cleared to the corner. Picked up by Schlein. We're back to 5-on-5 as Lowhite is free. In the corner, it's Pap. 7.5 minutes to go, period number 2. 3 goals this frame already for the visitors. Gantus defended on the near side by Lowhite. Wrapped up along the boards. McMenamin will pitchfork to center ice. Pick pocketed by McMenamin for UMD. Can't dig it out of his skates. Gallatin a long shot. It's deflected in front by Van Unen. Up underneath the helmet area. And now UMD is going to be in offside. Kind of a weird sequence there as Van Unen blocked the shot. Then his stick ended up in the corner, and Ben Steeves, if Luke Lowhite had been 2 steps further, would have had a breakaway from the blue line.
Well, the reason his stick was in the corner, guys, is because he got high stick underneath the mask there. Was it Lowhite?
It was Lowhite.
Yeah, that
so
was
it
in
wasn't
the
the
zone.
puck, it was the stick that got him up.
It just kind of one of those, pull it up at the last second, and it came all the way up under the cage, and you looked at the bench and thought, well, that could end up being another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tripped up at center was Dealstra. Northern wants that one as well. Won't get a penalty called on that. Bouncing puck knocked in by Perkins, and Halaz will put a glove to it. Will step aside. 3-3 our score. Bulldogs and Wildcats. My 9 Sports, the Gray TV network. 6:47 to go in this second period. It's settled down some for the home team, but quite the start to this period for Northern Michigan. 3 straight goals, and we're tied at 3-3.
Well, like we said, they're as streaky as a streaky team gets, and we've seen both sides of that, the bad streak for Northern and the good streak for Northern, and nothing says this doesn't end up 6-3 by the end of this period because, and I can't tell you which team that would be because of the way this is going.
Yeah, just remember, Bulldogs fans, it was Dave who spoke this into existence. And as fate would have it, not because of that, this is your final time with us for this season.
I mean, 2 weekends, and all I get is just these 2 with you guys. It's been a lot of fun. Hope we get a chance to do it again.
We've enjoyed having Dave Ellis join our crew for these couple games to start the year with teams from the UP here in Duluth. Judd will have a lot more work to do starting tomorrow night.
He can carry
I don't know
you.
if I can handle that.
He can carry you.
It's nice having you around, Dave.
6 minutes to go here, second period. The shot's about even, 21-20 for the game, but heavily slanted to Northern Michigan's favor for this second period. Now a long pass ahead, one of the goal scorers for UMD. Bettens does well to kick it to himself along those boards. Centering pass, Loney, and a block shot. Clear to the far boards. Into the corner, Gustafson Nyberg is submarined by Olsen in the far corner. Loney comes out of that scrum with it. Doubles back. The battle continues between Olsen and Gustafson Nyberg. And now it's popped out to center. Messick will dump it in for Northern Michigan with 5.5 to go. Errant pass on the breakout for UMD. Played toward the net. Stick to the corner by Stayskal. Pionk picks it up there for UMD. His outlet pass ahead of Bettens, who's now in a foot race with Van Unen, and icing called here on UMD.
How'd you like to be in the equipment room for Northern Michigan, guys, and you get a guy named Gustafson Nyberg that you got to put a nameplate on the back? That's 17 characters that have to go across the back. It's a good thing he's a big guy and he fits in a big jersey.
And with a first name like Viking, I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, but you should have that on there, shouldn't
That should
you?
just
That's
say
the best part.
Viking, I think.
And hey, if you didn't get a chance to get here tonight and you're up in the Arrowhead, I think you should come down and check out the game tomorrow. But if you can't, of course, you guys will have it here on My 9, 2 on the weekend.
Every home game except for those that are on CBS Sports Network as part of that contract with the NCHC. We're excited to be back with you for another full season of UMD hockey. Gantus battles with Loney along the near boards. Perbix there to help out. One-timer from Colella was well wide on the glove side. Van Unen holds on the far point. Behind the goal, it's Gantus. He takes a hit from Gallatin, and the puck pops free, but Colella continues on. Loney, and they're going to get Gallatin, I believe, for that hit along the near boards. He got Mikey Colella up high maybe, but nonetheless, Northern Michigan to its 5th power play of the game.
It's going to be an elbow or a high stick, I think, is Coletta. You'll see down here in the right in your bottom of your screen there up against the glass. Maybe we couldn't catch it there, but Gallatin got his stick or his elbow up and under.
I mean, Colella's listed at 5'7", guys, and that is a generous 5'7". That's with maybe skates and stilts. So getting up high on him is not real difficult if you're a 6'2", 6'3" kind of guy, and he's going to be that little gritty guy that wants to get in there. He's like the pebble in your shoe. It hurts, and you got to get him out of there somehow.
Roughing the official call on Owen Gallatin. For the record, he's listed at 5'8". Gantaus to the far side, and sliding to make the stop is Stayskal. 15 seconds gone on this Minnesota power play.
See what I mean about Gantos, though, guys? In tight spaces like that, so good with the puck, and he's not just ragging it around him to move. He's looking at the same time at getting that guy open. Schlane's got a great release. They want him more central, not down below the circles to get that shot off. Stayskal did a good job on that one, making sure everything was covered and then smothering the rebound.
Stayskal pokes that puck into the corner. Spicer will get the clear. Good play from the senior goaltender. Stayskal helps out his defense, and UMD with a clear. 30 seconds gone in this power play for Northern Michigan. Schlane enters the zone. Pushed to the wall by Spicer. Tried to leave it for Zinger. Goats pressures there, and another clear for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, 2 good clears there by UMD to find that ice off the boards instead of trying to just jam it up the boards where the defensemen are. Just about 7-8 feet off the boards into the middle of the ice. That's where you're going to find it.
Gantus to Messick, just over his stick on the near side as he flew in the left wing. And now his pass back to the point can't be handled cleanly by Christoph Papp. 1 minute to play here in the Northern power play. Just over 3.5 in the period. Messick will shoot it around to the far side. Bouncing puck, gets back to the point. Deelstra handles it there. Van Unen, middle point. Deelstra fires, stick save, Stayskal. Messick behind the goal. Perbix helps it to the far side. Number 2 unit out there for Northern. Van Unen walks in. Messick across to the far side. Tried to go skate to stick, did Deelstra, but the puck pinballs then in on Stayskal, who gloves it for UMD.
So Messick on that play, Judd. That beaver tail is a decoy. He doesn't want the puck there, but he wants the defenders to look over their shoulders and think, okay, I got to shift out of the way. That opened up that passing lane to get to the back door. But sometimes when you hear that clap, clap, clap of the stick, don't go for it. It's an audio ruse out there to try to distract you when you're defending.
They successfully were able to make that pass through the middle of the box there across ice, and unfortunately they fumbled the puck, but that's exactly what they're trying to do. And UMD on their power plays haven't been able to make that pass. There's been good sticks in the middle there to take that away. Northern just pulled it off, but a bad bounce didn't allow them to get a shot off.
Final 10 seconds of the power play. Deelstra pad save Stayskal. Perbix now with it below the goal line. Centering pass, one-timer blocked in front by Riley Bodnerchuk. We're back to 5-on-5 as Gallatin is released for UMD. Another successful kill here for the Bulldogs after 2 early power play goals in this period for Northern Michigan. And now a penalty coming on that play to the Wildcats. Delayed call on as Smith enters the zone, fires, and Halaz makes the stop with 2:31 to play. UMD now to its 4th power play of the game.
Well, it's going to be interference to Deelstra down in the offensive zone for Northern Michigan as the puck chipped out into the neutral zone, and Deelstra just stepped into, it might have been Jack Smith or one of the UMD 4th line, so to speak, players. And there was a no-brainer for the referee to call that one.
And that was 11 straight shots for Northern, guys. that came down there, and Halas made his first save in about 4 minutes on that last rush up the ice.
Minnesota power play now for UMD. A chance to maybe get the crowd back into it as well, as it's been all Northern Michigan this second period. Steves has it top of the near circle. He fires, he scores! Ben Steves, a power play goal, his second of the game. UMD back on top.
Well, similar to this first goal, he uses the defenseman as a screen. That's Steves. He's a shooter. You'll see here, he just steps and waits, uses the defenseman as a screen. Van Unen, you know what, guys? I think that's one you might want your goaltender to stop at this point of the game. Big moment. I mean, I don't know. I think that's one he probably wants back, guys.
I think you're absolutely right on that one, Judd. And when he looks back at that and sees his positioning that deep in the blue ice, especially with the little double clutch, he had time to get out.
He did have time. And
when you get beat glove side like that, that's when no goaltender likes looking at when you look at the tape the next morning.
Yeah, short side like that, there was certainly some room. I mean, a good release by Steve, but not that quick quick release like we saw in his first one. He kind of wound that one up and waited for get the defenseman to pull in a little bit, but I think it's still one he would have liked to have.
Remember last week we said special teams tech will take you out of it? Well, Northern went the other way. We're going to make this a special teams game.
Yeah, we haven't seen much 5-on-5 in this second period as Bast winds and fires from the point. It was from that spot last season that Steve scored so many power play goals. A lot of them were one-timers with good passes. Has now fired the puck behind Stacekall, as I thought he made a fairly routine save on Colby Ends, but the puck was cleared off the goal line by the UMD defense in the end. It somehow snuck through the equipment of Stacekall and made for a very exciting sequence for Northern Michigan. 90 seconds to go in this period. We're going to need the whole intermission to recap. Flying through center ice now. Leaving it for Schlein. That shot blocked by Bodnerchuk. Stung him. The puck to the far side, picked up by Papp. Papp, high slot. He walks down Broad Street. And now a penalty coming to UMD behind the net as Perkins took down Schlein, and he will go for cross-checking. The 5-on-5 didn't last all that long.
Well, that's what happens when you can park a guy that close and you allow someone to walk down the middle of the slot for that open shot there. You got to be able to clear him out from that near post there, Judd, without using the stick for contact. That's more of a hip action that if you're that deep and you're not to the spot where you've positioned yourself in front of the net, if you're the Northern offensive player, you've got to be able to physically move that guy below the post and not use your stick to do it.
Yeah, I don't know, Dave. That one looked pretty good to me. His stick was, he kind of just pushed into him. Maybe call it interference, but I think they called it a cross-check. But regardless, 6 power play here for Northern. This period couldn't end quick enough for UMD.
Centering pass, Colella, and a great save from Stacekall. Right on the doorstep was Mikey Colella for Northern Michigan.
You saw Perbix behind the net. Like, oh, we should have had one there.
He was
Judd's
dancing up and down. Watch the player behind the net here. Is that one right there? And he just kind of like a little kid. But that was a great opportunity. A great setup there.
It's as wide open as you're ever going to get an opportunity for that one. And Colella got good wood on it.
Hey, remember that save, guys. At this point, 4-3 lead for UMD if they can kill this off going into the third. Otherwise, it's a tie game.
51 seconds to go. The Perkins minor will carry over to the second, or the third period, I should say, if Northern unable to score before then. Back to the point, Van Unen. Far side one-timer, and that's blocked by Goetz. It comes to the near corner. Spicer does well, and a penalty coming to, this time, to Northern Michigan.
No, I think they got UMD on the
Did UMD touch
side.
the puck? It is. Bodnerchuk, you're right, Judd. So a 5-on-3 coming for the Wildcats for 95 seconds as Bodnerchuk goes for cross-checking for UMD.
Are we going to just chalk this up to coincidence, or is this the old thing with referees that you know somehow things will eventually even out?
Marbles in the pocket, I think they called that one.
Yes.
I mean, that you hate to be situational, but you're already down a man. That's a little ticky-tacky, away from the play. Not like it took a scoring opportunity away. It was a collision, certainly, but whew.
Final 35 seconds of the second period. Latch to Gantus. Latch fires. He's already got 2 this period. Saved this time by Stayskal. Latch to the point. Comes back to Latch. He fires. Blocker saved by Stayskal. Chasing it in the corner is Dubinsky. It comes to Zinger. 15 seconds to go. One timer. Actually a slap pass across the crease. Gantus now in front, and it's cleared by UMD. Final 10 seconds. Can they get one more rush with Zinger? Moves it ahead the ice. Latch at neutral. Far side. Gantus to Schlane. Winds. Saved by Stayskal at the buzzer. And we close 2 periods here at AMSOIL Arena with the Bulldogs leading 4-3, but 54 seconds of 5-on-3 to come in the third period for the visitors, Northern Michigan. The Super One Foods intermission report starts right after this on My9 Sports, the Gray TV network. Lots happened in that middle 20 minutes. 4 goals scored, 3 by Northern Michigan, the last one by UMD. It was Ben Steeves' second of the game, and he has the Bulldogs up 4-3 going into the third period. He joins our Alexis Bass on the ice.
A big offensive second period for you guys. You found your grit in that first period. How do you regain it back in the third period so that you continue to be so consistent in this one?
Yeah, we just need to play our first period game. We lost Dom James, number 17, but kind of mixed up the lines a little bit, but that doesn't matter. We need guys just getting after the puck and playing hard.
I know earlier this year you told me it all comes down to playing simple. How do you translate that message into the locker room with these guys right now?
Yeah, I mean, that second period we did not play simple. First period we did, we went up 3-0. So, I mean, it's what works. We just got to do what works, and we know these refs are calling everything right now, calling everything against us because of how bad it was that first period on them. So, I mean, third period, I'm hoping it's a little more even, and I'm going to try and get my third, put us up 5-3.
Last thing, Ben, what is going to be the difference maker in this third period for this team? I know you just mentioned the frustration with refs, but when it comes down to the things that you can control on this team.
Yeah, I mean, we can only control our effort, and it wasn't a good enough effort that second. So we're lucky to have a 4-3 lead, so now we just got to keep it.
Good luck in the third period.
Thank you.
Guys, send things back to you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Alexis. Significant there, Judd, for Ben to mention that UMD playing without his top-line center, Dominic James. Honestly, with all the goal scoring and the special teams, I hadn't noticed the absence of number 17.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. We kind of missed that one. But, again, special teams was the story of that period, mostly Northern Michigan, and they took full advantage of it.
27 shots for the Wildcats in this period, guys, and they will start with 54 seconds of 5-on-3 with clean ice to begin the third. That could be very pivotal.
7 goals scored in the game so far, 5 of them by way of the power play. So we'll see what happens early in the third period for Northern Michigan. Can they get this game back tied at 4-4? Earlier in this building this afternoon, the UMD women's hockey team fell to number 2 ranked Ohio State by a 5-2 score. Those 2 teams will wrap up their WCHA series tomorrow afternoon, and the UMD women's soccer team a 2-1 win on the road against Minnesota State Moorhead. She does not play for UMD anymore, but coming up after the break, we will have Gabby Hughes here in the booth as she will have a banner raised in this building tomorrow afternoon for her Hockey Humanitarian Award that she received last year. One of the fans here just made a full ice shot, so the crowd certainly back in it. That shot and Ben Steeves' shot as the crowd excited going into the third period. The Super One Foods intermission report continues right after this on My9 Sports, the Gray TV network.
Welcome back to AMSOIL Arena. Well, I'm with Gabby Hughes, who needs absolutely no introduction. Gabby, you're back for Alumni Weekend. This is your first time back at AMSOIL. Before we get to it, how does it feel to be back here at home?
It feels so good. Knowing that Alumni Weekend was coming, I've been preparing to wear this jersey again for probably a month and a half now, so it feels so good to put it back on, be back in this arena, and be back to a home I've known for 5 years. So it's been exciting, and I'm excited to keep the weekend going.
Tomorrow's going to be a very big day for you. There is a special banner being hung in those rafters because of what you did here at UMD. What does it sound like to know that Gabby Hughes will have her very own Hockey Humanitarian Award recipient banner out here forever?
It's crazy to think about. I think about the dreams I've had since I was a little kid of step one, making Division I hockey, and then succeeding there, and never once expected to have a banner raised with my name on it. So I'm super excited, and I'm super excited for people to always have something to look at and remember Sophie Squad for.
Speaking of Sophie Squad, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. You are part of Sophie Squad. You've been almost the engineer behind that for the last couple years, and it surpassed your wildest dreams, the way that it was so successful, the money it raised, the events. Where is Sophie Squad at today?
It's at an amazing spot. I mean, we just finished up our annual 5K and golf tournament, and it's our second year doing it. Last year we had about 80-some 5K walk runners, and we tripled that number this year. And to see that and all the people that showed up to support it, from Division I athletes traveling throughout the state and Division III coming from Wisconsin to come in and participate, was amazing. So to see where we're at, and the money we've raised in the last year is unbelievable, and I'm just excited to see where we continue to go.
As both former student athletes ourselves, we know how important mental health is. What advice do you give to current student athletes here at UMD or across the entire country, knowing that you have to prioritize that first in order for it to translate out on the court, in the field, swim lessons, whatever it be for you, but what do you tell them?
I would say whatever you need to do for yourself, it's not selfish. It's taking care of your mental health so you can be better for your teammates and the people around you. I would also say it doesn't make you any less of a person. I know that was something I always worried about when I was struggling, is having people view me as less of a person or not being able to do the job that I was needed to do when I came to the rink, and that's not the case. So I encourage people to not look at it that way and lean on the people around you, because they'll love and support you no matter what.
I want to come back to you for a moment. You've been just a little busy. Now, you're a professional hockey player, that's no surprise. Now you're just drafted to the U.S. national team yesterday. Talk to us about what that's been like as you continue to allow your dreams to come true as a hockey player.
Yeah, it's been a crazy past month and a half trying to figure everything out since I got drafted to Ottawa, and trying to get my visa approved to move to Canada and find an apartment and get my banking all figured out, and then finding out I made the rivalry series team for USA, and being able to represent my country has been just a whirlwind of emotions, and I'm just so honored and blessed to be able to experience these kind of things. So I'm just really, really excited to continue to represent my country and go to Ottawa and figure out where life takes me there.
Last thing, what's it going to take for this UMD men's team to pull off the win tonight?
They need to get a fire lit and put the puck in the back of the net a couple more times, and everyone in this arena can leave home and be happy.
Well, thank you, Gabby. You heard it here first. UMD needs to light the fire. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome back to AMSOIL Arena. Zach Schneider, Judd Medic, Dave Ellis here with you for the final 20 minutes of regulation between UMD and Northern Michigan. The Bulldogs lead the Wildcats 4-3 through the first two periods. Northern Michigan, though, does have 54 seconds of 5-on-3, 1 minute 20 seconds of total power play time to start this third and final period.
Yeah, this is a big moment here, down 4-3. You start the period, like Dave said, with fresh ice and a 5-on-3 opportunity. Just like UMD started the game on that weird power play that they got, this is an equally as big of an opportunity, and they'll need it to tie this game up, and that's huge momentum for them.
And you're missing one of your top center guys right now that take this draw with Dominic James not available. So, you know, who's going to be the guy that's going to step up in the middle with Perkins, Spicer, and Smith? They're going to be taking a lot of draws coming here. Who's going to be the one that can step into that spot and make Northern chase the puck a little bit? They've had it on their stick for much of the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, Dom James, certainly their leader and their maybe most important offensive player out of probably the rest of the game, I'd imagine.
5-on-3 continues for 45 seconds. Gantus, Zinger. He fires well wide. Gantus to Pap at the goal line. Pap in the circle. Gantus, Zinger. Back to Gantus. Pap. Sliding was Goetz, and that pass deflected by Loney out to center ice for UMD.
There's that danger you can overthink a 5-on-3, Judd. It looks like that's what Northern was doing to start the period here.
Maybe looking for the perfect play there, but a good stick, another good stick here by UMD. That's the biggest thing I tell my young kids that I coach. got to have a good stick on the penalty kill. Sticks on the ice in lanes, taking away passing and shooting lanes, and so far, so good for UMD.
Perkins set to hop on back for UMD. We're to 5-on-4 as Gallatin disrupts that entry. The puck now tied up in the corner. Gantus and Gallatin battle for it there. Latch on the scene to help for Northern Michigan. 15 seconds to go on this latest power play. Now a 5-on-4 for Northern Michigan. Far side circle, Zinger walks in, deflected up over the glass by Jack Smith with 5 seconds to go in the power play. Let's look at the stats through 2 periods of play. The biggest one jumping off the sheet. Shots in that second period, 27-8 in favor of Northern.
Yeah, big time. I mean, that's the big one. The face-offs to me is a big one too. Northern dominating in the face-off circle, and they've won a lot of them on these power play situations like we have right here, guys, in the zone here. This gives them possession. There's 5 seconds left, so it gives them enough time if they win this to execute some sort of play here.
They do win it. Messick to the middle. That shot blocked away by Joey Pierce, who clears, but into the Bulldogs bench. Bodnerchuk is released. We're back to 5-on-5, but the face-off in the UMD zone.
That's 2 good sticks and lanes there, Judd. Causing the face-off and then right off of it, making sure Northern didn't get a clean look. It's always that danger when you put it in those danger areas like that. Are you going to tip it by your goaltender? Good job by the Bulldogs to get it off the shaft of the stick and not on the blade where you don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, you don't want to tip those pucks into your goal. You're almost better off just letting him. If he can see it from that far out, why not let him make the save there?
So the Northern power play now 2 for 7 officially in the game. UMD's 3 for 4. Special teams have very much been a key part of this hockey game to this point. 90 seconds gone in the third period. Olsen leads the charge across the line for UMD. Fires one toward the net. Knocked down in front was Bast. And the puck out to center ice. This is Messick. Bothered from behind by Olsen, and he flips it in deep. Northern will change behind the play with 2 minutes gone here as the puck flipped high and off the scoreboard. Not at a vantage point where we can see if that broke one of the video panels. That happened either last year or 2 years ago, Judd.
Yeah, it happens. I'm not going to say it was me, but we used to, in pregame skates on the road, we'd try to flip pucks up and see who could get it high and maybe hit the scoreboard, and never a good thing when you break one of the panels up there. But
they send you a bill?
I don't know, because I didn't do it, Dave.
Very diplomatic of you, Jeff.
Northern controlled off the face-off. It's taken away by UMD. They flip to center. Benton's tried to shovel it up the ice. And now 5-on-5, we'll start to see maybe more of the impact, at least through what we can see of the absence of Dominic James as UMD tries to rotate through its normal 4 lines. It was harder to see during that special teams. He's obviously one of the killers for UMD as Bettens fires one off the blocker of Halaz. I just honestly didn't notice that 17 wasn't on the ice.
Yeah, apparently it was when he was killing a penalty when it was 5-on-3 or right leading up to that 5-on-3 when that call happened. It was right off the face-off. He went down and looked like he fell on his hand or something. He was favoring his hand and skated right off the ice. That's what I had talked to a couple other media members that actually saw the replay of it. I mean, let's hope he's okay. A hand injury, it looked like, of some sort.
I mean, it's not just draws, too, guys. He's so good in transition, and we've already seen Northern's going to commit 2 and 3 guys underneath the dots. That means they're going to be odd man rushes available going the other way. You want your creative players out on open ice if those chances are there.
Gantus 2-on-2 as they cross the UMD line. Defended nicely by Darian Goetz once more. Now Perkins, he tried to feed Biondi at the line. He's in ahead of the play. They'll have to tag up. Perbix sidesteps Biondi at center. Gantus enters the zone, tried to fire one toward, looking for Colella. Now it goes to the far side. Perbix back to Gustafson Nyberg, tried to go D to D, but his partner Zinger had moved over. Biondi takes over across the line. McMenamin drops for Perkins, far side. Bodnerchuk fires, and that missed the net. It caroms off the boards out to center ice.
Well, it was a great zone entry there. They came in layers and were able to get it through the middle to the weak side, and not a great shot by Bodnerchuk, as you said. He kind of whipped that a few feet wide, but a good executed zone entry by UMD.
Now a misplay by Dubinsky in the defensive zone, walking in, and a save by Stayskal. That was Schlane for Northern Michigan. Out to the blue line, it's held. No, it's not. Out to neutral, that puck came, and an offside whistled on Northern Michigan.
Well, you can see what Schlane can do there, guys. If you give him the opportunity and some open ice on a turnover where you're scrambling to get back into position, he's got such a quick release from in tight. It looks like he doesn't have room to snap that puck away, but he doesn't need much. And when he can get that release fast, the goaltender better be ready for those shots because it's coming faster than you think.
Bettens is canceled out by Van Unen. Michael Van Unen in the corner takes a hit from Olsen. Loney fires and Halaz makes that save as he took that shot from a sharp angle. There's a look at the puck hitting the video board. I didn't see any damage, so we might have escaped disaster this time. Not sure, I can't remember which Bulldog it was. It was a Bulldog that flipped it high and broke one of those panels a couple years back.
I remember the panel coming down and hitting the ice.
Play continues here as Olsen gives it back to Pionk. Long shot tipped in front. Might have been blocked by Shane as Olsen takes it back behind the goal. Into the corner, it's Bettens. To the point, Pionk. Fires again. That's blocked in front by Van Unen. And Northern will clear to center ice. Ahead at the line, taken over by Loney. Drop pass for Olsen. The trailer on the far side is Gallatin, and a save by Halaz. Good join there by Owen Gallatin. Got a good shot off in the end. Nearly 5 minutes gone here in period number 3. UMD trying to do what it couldn't do last weekend in the opener against Michigan Tech. That's build on a 1-goal third period lead. They saw Tech battle back to tie that game. It ended as a 2-2 tie in overtime. Halaz wraps it around the far side, held by Goetz, who's in off the bench. Into the corner, low height. He's hit from behind, and a penalty coming now to Northern Michigan. We'll see of what variety that penalty is. Certainly in the conversation, perhaps, of a major.
Again, guys, I mean, I really hope Luke Lowhite's okay here, but he turned into that. He did turn into it. You got to be responsible, but this shouldn't be any more than 2, to be honest. You'll see Luke goes in, and watch, he stops and kind of, I mean, he's got to have some, I guess his back was turned the whole time, so the Northern Michigan player's got to know he's got to let up a little bit.
You can't make contact on the nameplate, yeah. Judd. When you're coming up that high, I think that's what puts it in the discussion of 5.
Yeah, yep. I mean, we've seen this over the years, Zach, and I would not be surprised if this is a major looking at that replay, but again, there's got to be a little responsibility on low height there.
It's not a hard bump from Bandu. It's just the position of where he made the contact, I think, that they're going to be looking at.
Well, with the way this game has gone and where we sit with 14:42 to go in the third period, UMD up by a goal, if this is a major penalty, that's a significant advantage to the Bulldogs. Their power play has been really good, 3 for 4, and it gives them a chance to build on what's now a 1-goal lead.
Northern Michigan does not sit back either. They're going to attack you when they're killing penalties, especially if they can get Gantos and Schlane out there. They'll try to turn it back the other direction, even if they're down a man, especially because when you're looking at a 4-forward power play like UMD can put out there, that's Grant Petolny thinking, this is my chance to go out and attack because these aren't the guys out there that can make that rush back up. I want you to watch, where's first contact? It's right in the nameplate, and it's above the number. That, I mean, I'm leaning like 50-50, but I'd probably lean toward the 5 that way, Judd, but I don't know what you think of where that contact was.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones where you're what I teach the kids is you got to wrap up there, right? Yep. Like you're saying, you don't drive them, you just wrap up and then kind of guide them into the boards to contain instead of that contact from behind there.
You go hip first there, down right on the belt line, and I don't think that's a problem.
Right.
It's that hand up top.
Up top, yeah.
This is what the officials are looking at in real time down in the penalty box area as they make their decision about a potential major to Northern Michigan sophomore defenseman Isaac Bandu. It appears they've made their decision, and we will get the final verdict.
Well, he's staying in the box, so something tells me this is just going to be 2. we've seen worse for games, that's for sure.
A 2-minute minor for boarding is the decision, and the partisan Amsoil Arena crowd does not appreciate that, but you two agree.
The other thing
I
that
think it's the
bothered
right
me,
call.
what bothered me there, Judd, is the hand off the stick, too. If you've got that free hand and you're pushing in, that's where you put yourself at the risk of taking the 5. But in the end, I can buy that call as a 2.
So a Minnesota power play for UMD. Steves winds and fires right off the draw, looking for his 3rd. He said at the intermission he wanted to do it, and that was a good chance.
He called a shot, right?
Yep.
So to speak.
But look where Halash was that time. Not back in the blue, out in the white ice. Maybe the blade's in, but he cut more angle that time. When you read it that way and you attack the shooter, you give him
Way
less
better
to shoot
angle,
at.
you're right.
Face off this time to the left of Halas. Low height against Schlane. It's won by UMD. Gallatin, far point, walks in. Halas makes the save, rebound free for a moment. Gallagher off the glass and out to center ice. A rolling puck that Stayskal will have to come play for UMD. Peeling off early was Andre Gantus. And back comes UMD. This is Spicer. Leaves it for the point. Gantus tried to poke it around. No, this is Pap rather. Pap short-handed for Northern Michigan to the forehand. Save made by Stayskal. He got the left pad out. The back pressure from Ben Steves. Here come the Bulldogs. Olsen tried to hand it off again, and now UMD will even things up as for the 2nd time they make a turnover on the zone entry. This time it'll cost them. This will be evened up as soon as UMD touches up.
Well, these are the things that drive coaches nuts. 5 feet inside the blue line, 2 turnovers in a row on the power play. You got to get the zone, guys. You got to get that puck in deep, set it up. That's Spicer there the first time.
And Northern Michigan happier than everything to just rag this puck. The more time they kill, the more power play time they'll get at the end of the 4-on-4. As now Gallatin finally touches. He'll be the guilty party. And we'll play 4-on-4 for 39 seconds, then an abbreviated power play coming for Northern Michigan.
Boy, Perkins put his stick in a spot you don't want to see right there if you're Scott Sandlin, because one bad move and now you're down a man, not just going in to 4-on-4. That's the one thing we haven't seen tonight, right? We haven't seen 4-on-4 yet.
4-on-4 for 39 seconds, and then the Northern power play will get what we think will be its 8th chance of the evening. The way this game has gone, 39 seconds, an awful lot can change in terms of the manpower.
Grant Patalny resting the first unit to start with here, guys. So after he can kill this first 39, if he can't get anything out of there, he's got those guys ready to go for the last 120.
You'll want to come back with this top group here for the full remainder of that power play abbreviated.
Gallagher holds at the near point to the far side. Van Unen gets it in deep. It caroms off the side of the cage and dangerously out in front of the UMD goal. It's dealt with there by Aiden Dubinsky, who has it now for the Bulldogs. 20 seconds to go in the even strength 4-on-4, and then the Northern power play begins. Mangini fires off the stick of Halaz. Dubinsky digs it out of the corner, just sends it back in behind. Van Unen picks it up there, hit hard by Mangini. On the scene to help is Jack Smith. It pops free. Schlane, 2-on-2 through neutral. His line mate peels off. The power play has started now for Northern Michigan. Their 8th Minnesota power play of the game. Pass picked off by Loney, 2-on-1 shorthanded. Mangini trying to join him. Loney, nice move to the front. He's tripped up. No call coming. Northern Michigan the other way. Pap to Gantus, to Schlane, back to Pap, save made, and Gantus had his stick tied up by Darian Goetz. Might have been held by Darian Goetz, but the play continues. Zinger walks to the middle in the circle, Pap. Back to Zinger, 45 seconds to go on the power play. Latch fires off the shoulder of Stayskal. Pap to Gantus. Zinger at the point. Back to Gantus. He walks into the circle, fires, saves Stayskal. Back to Gantus, a shot, another save, the rebound, they score! Tanner Latch completes the hat trick. a power play goal for Latch. It's tied 4-4.
It's almost like a 1-4 there, Judd. When you move that other point man down, he's leaving Zinger up top by himself, and you just flat out outnumber the Bulldog defenders down there. You can't cover everybody when it's 4-on-2 underneath the hash marks. And Latch just kind of found that little dirty area back on the back post, and that's the easiest of the 3 he scored tonight.
Yeah, he just gets lost on the backside there, and that puck just bounces right to him. He's on his forehand just waiting for that, and Gantu's great job. Again, he follows up with the first shot, comes back to him, second shot, he regains it, throws it on net low and hard, looking for that rebound, if nothing else, and that's exactly what happened there.
Latch with 3 goals in his collegiate debut tonight for Northern Michigan, and the Wildcats are tied once more. 4-4 our score midway through the third period. Pionk picks off that pass at center, gives to the far side. Bettens walks in, a shot off the side of the cage. The crowd here thought he had scored his second. Gallatin walks in, blocker save Halaz. Pionk in the corner picks it up. Tries to protect along the near boards to the middle. Steves walks in, a shot that dribbled wide. Good response here from the Bulldogs to Northern getting that tying goal. Each team now with 3 power play goals in the hockey game. Both teams changing. Steves and one of the Wildcats are tied up. Steves is on the bench. The Wildcat not so much. That is Mitch Dealstra, and now he retires to the friendly confines of the Wildcats bench.
Well, Scott Sandlin's irate right now. You could hear him screaming, 6 guys on the ice. He wanted too many men. He was yelling at the linesman and the referee at the same time.
I was worried about Alexis in there, right in the danger zone.
Bast at center ice. This is Pierce. Closed down quickly there by Connor Eddy. Delivered a hit, but the Bulldogs get the puck deep as we approach the halfway point of period number 3. Bandu across the UMD line. Tried to sidestep a hit. The puck behind the net. Bass the first one there for the Bulldogs. Eddy tries to sidestep Pierce behind the goal. Tries to wrap around, and Stayskal got the pad over. Ends to the far circle. Fires a shot. They score! Michael Messick, Northern Michigan, has their first lead of the hockey game.
And that's how many goals from freshmen now? 5 on the night, and 4 have come from the rookies. That's an amazing shot from the back there, and Slukinski was coming in. If there was any change waiting around, Messick just on the back corner, and again, Judd, they lost him on the backside.
Yeah, that's one that Stage Call is going to want to have back. It just gets a piece of him and goes back into the net behind him, but you can see the thrill, the excitement from that young man getting his first collegiate goal. They immediately go get that puck for him. And just like that, the old Mongolian reversal, Northern Michigan with a 1-goal lead here.
Weird Karam off the boards to the middle of the northern zone, but they clear the puck. This is the first deficit for UMD of this young season as Northern Michigan in ahead of the play. We will step aside. The Wildcats lead it 5-4 here on My9 Sports, the Gray TV network. Back to live action past the midway point here of period number 3. 5-4 the score. Northern Michigan, its first lead of the hockey game. Out to center ice, Olsen gloves it down for the Bulldogs. Can the home team find an equalizer? We've seen the Wildcats battle back, first from a 3-goal deficit, then from a 1-goal deficit. Can the Bulldogs follow suit here at AMSOIL Arena? Gantus flips it in. Northern will change 3 of its 5 skaters. Olsen ahead for the Bulldogs as they do the same. He flips it opposite corner. Spicer is there. Bulldogs changing behind him, tries to delay in the corner, has it taken away by 3 of the Wildcats. Now he gets some help from his line mate Kyle Bettens. To the point, Pionk a long shot. That was wide of the goal. Papp tried to bang it out of the zone. It's held by Spicer. To the point, held by Spicer once more. This is Gallatin to the middle. Long shot, traffic in front. The rebound cleared away by Gustafsson Nyberg. No, that was Bandu. This is Spicer in the circle, a shot. Save made Halaz. Steves battles for it behind the goal. To the point, it's Pionk, a shot. Save made, the rebound in the feet at the far side, and Steves couldn't find it in time. Gallatin has it for the Bulldogs. 8 minutes to go in the regulation. Long shot from Betton's no good. Pionk, a shot deflected wide. One of the Wildcats has a broken stick. The puck out to center ice. He'll get to the bench and change. Pionk back on the attack. In the circle, a stick save Halaz, and directs it smartly up out of play for Northern Michigan. And Northern Michigan has 6 players on the ice as they skate to the bench. UMD campaigning that this should be a power play. We'll see if they win as we go down between the benches to Alexis Bass.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Well, we know both of these teams have been prominent on special teams. That's something that head coach Scott Sandlin said that he wanted to improve on. He wanted to find more depth on this penalty kill to give some younger guys opportunities to make sure that they can get the job done too. And UMD's had no choice but to pivot this game without top player Dominic James, who's been out. We have no update on his injury right now, but we'll keep locked and let you guys know when we do, guys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Alexis. UMD does win that campaign, and a too many men on the ice penalty taken by Northern Michigan. So UMD to the power play. It's 6th of the game and a timeout taken by Northern Michigan.
Yeah, Grant Patolny wants to talk this over, knows how crucial this is. By the way, we haven't mentioned tonight, guys, Grant Patolny is serving his 2nd year as the president of the American Hockey Coaches Association. The 38th all-time. He took over in July of 2022 for a 3-year term from Casey Jones of Clarkson. And from 1995 to 97, that post was occupied by one Mike Surdich. Scott Sandlin's been on the board, never been the president. And the president down there right now giving his address to the troops down there. And the State of the Union is pretty good on that Northern Michigan bench. But you know there's some threats out there, especially because we know what special teams have done all night, Judd.
Yeah, I can't remember a game like this where we've seen 6 power play goals and all these opportunities. This has been wild, but this is the biggest one so far of the night for UMD, as they need one to tie this game up with a little under 8 minutes left.
UMD relied so heavily on the power play last season, Judd, and it operated at 25%. The power play was really, really good. They maybe wanted some more opportunities, but so far this season, they didn't get any power play goals in last weekend's opener, but good things that we're seeing from this unit.
Yeah, I mean, they're already 3 tonight, 3 for 5. You know, it's one of those things. Look for them to just keep things simple here. Northern does a great job taking away the middle of the ice, like we talked about. So probably just work it around, get it back to the point, get traffic and pucks to the net here.
Pionk off the face-off fires a long shot, and that was deflected and out to center ice. This, the Minnesota power play for UMD with 7.5 minutes to go in the 3rd period. Chasing it is Gallagher behind the goal line. Pionk will hold at the point for UMD. McMenamin in the circle walks in. That shot was blocked. McMenamin picks it back up, wraps it to the far side. This is Bast. Number 2 unit starts this power play for the Bulldogs. Pionk middle point. Bast in the circle, walks in, down low, one-timer. It comes to Perkins and knocked away by the captain, Schlain, who then a diving play gets the puck deep and out for Northern Michigan. Matthew Perkins was on the doorstep for maybe his collegiate first, as he's got the puck now on the near boards. 1:05 to go in the man advantage. Pionk to Bast, one-timer, save made, the rebound cleared to the slot and out for Northern Michigan.
Well, some good puck movement there. That was a set play with Blake Biondi in the middle. It goes down low, then to a quick bump right to him for the one-timer. We've seen that many times over the years, and he was not able to connect on that, but good execution. Nothing to show for it.
Number 1 unit out there now for UMD. Still 40 seconds to go in the power play. This is Lowhite, the captain for the Bulldogs. Near side boards, Gallatin. Back to Lowhite, top of the circle, walks in. Pass in the feet of Spicer. He's operating in the spot that Dominic James would normally be in. Olsen. The puck out to Halaz, who covers up at the far side of his crease with 6:01 to go in the regulation, 20 seconds in the power play.
It's a lot of trust for Grant Patolny to put Viking Gustafsson Norberg out there killing that penalty, because he's a guy who hasn't really shown anything other than, I mean, he's as big as an aircraft carrier out there, so he's going to take up space. But the way that he plays, Judd, with that left hand off the stick, I worry about him as a penalty kill if I'm a Northern Michigan fan, just because I'm not sure if he could go out and get into the right spot where that frame is really what takes away the space.
Wildcats win the faceoff. They get the clear length of the ice, and that should kill just about the rest of this bench minor being served by Riley Funk for Northern Michigan. Time for one last entrance for UMD. This is Spicer into the corner. Gives for Steves. We're back to 5-on-5. Steves walks right in. A shot. Halaz square to the shooter. Makes the stop. And that will take us to our final break of the game. It's 5-4 Wildcats. My9 Sports, the Gray TV network. Been a physical game. Tonight's Castle Danger Brewery check of the game. There's a couple of them as players try to get to their respective benches. Always a hostile meeting place during a game like this.
Yeah, this game's been played in the trenches along the boards. Certainly a battle. And we got about 5.5 minutes left of this, guys.
Maybe.
Latch with the 3 goals. That's right, plays to the middle. Can't get a puck in on the net of Stayskull. Bettens jams it at the far boards, tries to get it out. It's held by Schlane. Now to the near side, it's Christoph Papp as Northern changes behind the forecheck here. You'll see some shorter shifts from Northern Michigan, I would imagine, as they try to keep their top guys fresh, trying to secure a season-opening win for them against a ranked opponent, UMD. And as Dave and I were talking about off air during one of the intermissions, a vital non-conference series as you look at the schedule, the remaining schedule in Northern Michigan.
Yeah, all they have for pairwise points is this and Arizona State next week.
Lowhite fires from a sharp angle. Halaz makes the stop. And with a face-off coming in the offensive zone, it gives us time to remind you UMD Stores has the area's largest selection of UMD wear and is open 7 days a week. Stop by today to see the newest gear for fans of all ages. The store opens 7 days a week on campus on Kirby Drive, or you can shop online anytime, anywhere. UMDstores.com.
Northern Michigan one time last year, guys, had over 40 shots in a game. Already have 42 here tonight.
1 for 1 in the new season are the Wildcats. Gallatin off the face-off, fired a shot that was blocked. Dropping the stick on the play was Ryland Van Unen. Held at the far point now by Gallatin. Van Unen has a stick back. Low height shot. That was fought off by the glove of Halaz. Low height in the circle. Olsen toward the front. Loney is joining these two on the top line for UMD with Dominic James out injured. Loney toward the middle. He's knocked down, and the puck controlled by Northern Michigan. Bandu plays it long ahead. Funk has it. Funk a centering pass. Couple jams at it along the pad of Stayskull. And a face-off coming defensively for UMD. One of the Wildcats, that's Dealstra, upset because that puck was really never covered along the pad of Stayskull.
Yeah, Grant Patolny not happy about it either, as he's got his arms up, wondering why that whistle went. It was sitting there. We could see it really well from our vantage point.
Yeah, I don't like when the low official makes that call there. That's up to the high guy to tell him that you're loose, you're still good. It's not great communication there with the guys in the stripes out. That's something that, middle of the season, they'll get better at when they go back, look at it, and referees look at tape too.
Tell me what I'm missing here, because the face-off comes outside, so something else was going on, because otherwise the face-off for sure should have been inside the zone for Northern Michigan.
And it was a high stick too. Aaron Pionk high stick the puck, and that was the initial signal. Then the cover-up. Not sure why that comes out.
No clue.
It is what it is.
One of the great mysteries of life, but Northern Michigan wins the face-off, gets it back deep immediately. As Dubinsky now breaks out. He plays it ahead, and Perkins will give chase along the M board. Shovels it to the near side. Biondi, first one on the scene. Nice pass there. Biondi out in front, could get a shot away. Perkins now has it. Dubinsky at the point to Biondi in the circle. Loads, fires, blocked by Van Unen. Puck in the middle, out to the point. Bast will shoot it back below the goal line. McMenamin goes to the far side. Perkins, good forecheck here from this line. Created a couple scoring chances on that shift with 3:20 to go in the third period. UMD in need of an equalizing goal. Pionk 200 feet away. Mangini through neutral ice. Mangini to the forehand. The rebound, he scores! Anthony Mangini! How do you do? We're tied 5-5.
Well, Anthony Mangini, we talked a lot about him last week. He had the shootout goal and the goal in the game. This will be his second. He follows up on his rebound. A burst of speed across the line. He cuts in a quick little snapshot. He tries to go low, stick side. Nice pad save there by Halaz, but Mangini follows up and just picks the back of the net.
I was just going to mention too, Judd, Northern still had a two-man forecheck going with a one-goal lead. It left Zinger back there by himself. He just got flat-footed right at the blue line, and Mangini smoked him around the corner to create the initial chance and then followed up to cash in for the equalizer.
Mangini scored over 20 goals last year in the USHL, and he's opened his UMD career with 2 big goals, each in the third period. Last weekend against Tech, tonight against Northern Michigan, and this one gets the Bulldogs back level. It's 5-5. Now Gallatin fires, and that one missed the net. Still 2.5 minutes to go in regulation. Olsen battling along the end boards, taken away by Perbix. He's pinned to the wall by Loney. The puck out to the point, held nicely by Gallatin, and now Olsen, a centering pass. Rather, that was low height. It's taken away by Gantus for Northern. He enters 1-on-4. Those odds may be better for him than other people in the same situation. Funk 2-on-1, and he comes away from that with the puck. They tried to fire from the slot area and could not. It's flipped to center ice, and this is Bettens with 2 minutes to go. Bettens sidesteps the defense to the forehand. He's taken down. No call coming. Actually, the trailer does make the call, and that may have had some influence, the Amsoil Arena crowd, because that was an awfully late hand in the air.
That was extremely late, Zach, and if, whether it's a penalty or not, it didn't get called initially. He had enough time to look back at him, look forward again, and then back. All of a sudden, he's got his arm up. But
right about here is where he put his arm up.
Yeah. How about the effort though by Bettens? Again, this kid's coming into his own. He drives the puck wide. It was a 1-on-2. Gets his feet moving. Uses that big frame to cut towards the net. Drives it wide and draws the penalty. Right.
And that's the second straight shift that it was Zinger that got burned on the move into the zone. Great job using the frame there, coming into the zone by Bettens to really find the way to get in position to get that shot away.
I'm a little surprised Scott Salem didn't take his timeout right now.
Already took it.
That's right, it was early on.
Minnesota power play for UMD to close out regulation, a chance to find a potential game winner for the Bulldogs. Pion with 90 seconds to go, ahead for Perkins, into the zone. Perkins drives wide, behind the goal, now on the far side. Gallagher tries to kick it up that wall. And with the puck underneath a couple different bodies, we get a whistle and a face-off coming with 1:21 to play.
I mean, fitting. Started regulation on the power play, going to end regulation on the power play, right?
It's true. The officials, their hands were tied, but we should have seen this coming. There was a penalty before the game even started.
No, we needed to tie them. If they were tied up, they wouldn't be raising them all the time out here, right? I mean, 6 power play goals, 5 goals by freshmen. What else can we throw into this now? There's got to be one more spin of the dice left here, right?
Off the face-off, Olsen fires one just wide. And the pass back to the point, out to center ice. Gallatin going to be chased by Kalila.
We haven't seen a shorty yet, have we, guys?
You didn't just say that out loud, did you?
That was Judd, just for the record. Low height. Tried to enter the zone. It's cleared by Northern Michigan with 1 minute to play in regulation. The power play technically would carry over for 9 seconds into a potential 3-on-3 overtime. Spicer shoots it into the far side. Steves helps it along. Now it's back to Spicer along the near boards. 40 seconds to go. Spicer controls. Down low, low height. Back to Spicer. Gallatin moves to the middle. Steves winds, doesn't fire. Gives to Spicer. Walks in, a shot. That was blocked. Low height with 25 seconds to go, and a penalty called in the corner. Spicer and one of the Wildcats down in a heap, and I believe the penalty has to be on Spicer because UMD was in control of the puck pretty clearly at the middle point.
Well, his bucket's half up on his head,
Yeah,
too.
he's laying on the ice, so I don't know how he comes away with the penalty, but
He's just as confused as we are.
It is on Spicer.
Let's watch here, guys. Here's the play. Spicer, I mean, that's a dive. It's certainly a dive.
In the first period, that's a penalty. In the third, with the game on the line, I don't know about that one. That's...
And so now the tables have turned a bit,
Yeah.
because the Northern Michigan power play would take the first bulk part of the potential overtime if we get there. We still have 24.4 seconds of 4-on-4 in regulation. But then after those 9 seconds tick away, Northern Michigan would have roughly a minute and a half of 4-on-3 in the overtime.
Depending on how long before you get a whistle, where you can even it back out.
Right. So the face-off in the UMD zone, controlled by Northern. Zinger has it at the point, walks to the middle. Zinger to the back door, and that was Schlane, tried to go backhand, forehand. Nice pass by Zinger, who has the puck once more. Walks to the middle, gives it to Bandu. Far side Schlane, no, that's Gantu, centering pass cleared by McMenamin. And we, for the second straight game here to start this season, will head to a 3-on-3 overtime at Amsoil Arena. Dave, you're just bad luck.
What do you mean bad luck? This is a lot of fun.
This is great fun. We're getting our money's worth, guys.
I mean, 65 minutes plus last week. If I only get 2 games with you, I want to max the amount of time I can get here, boys.
We certainly are.
Small break here before the 3-on-3. We'll start 4-on-4. No, we'll start 3-on-3, and then when Northern gets their guy back, it'll become a 4-on-3 for the duration of the UMD penalty, and then we'll play 4-on-4 until we can go back to the 3-on-3. So if that's clear as mud, what you need to know is Northern Michigan will have a power play in 9 seconds.
Now, again, we talked about this last week, the Sergei Fedorov trick, that if you get possession in the extra session, put the goalie on the bench, and you've got a power play, this would turn it into a 5-on-3. Do you take the chance?
I would. I mean, I would. I really would. It's a puck possession game, and
especially the way the power plays have been working tonight too. Wow,
it's risky certainly, but
has anyone done analytics? How many times his team scores versus gets scored upon in a scenario like that?
They actually, I think the numbers on that were about 60% of the time it worked, and they scored and won the hockey game.
So if you like those odds, a little bit better than the coin flip?
You know what? If it was 4-on-3, guys, I think I would do it. Looking at the 5-on-3 and how Northern dealt with that, I didn't think they were very good. I think, like Judd said, overthinking it and thinking you had too much time. If it's a 4-on-3, I might try it. 5-on-3 is maybe as counterintuitive as that sounds. I don't know that I'd try it with the 2-man advantage.
A 4-on-3 is usually a pretty good advantage, guys. It's different than a 5-on-4 or 4-on-3 because there's more space, and it's harder to kill when you only have 3 guys, even when there's 4 on the other team. So I mean, sure, I say I would go for it. That'd be fun, but you got a 4-on-3 chance in overtime. I think I like my odds of drawing something up right now. They're talking about it. They're going to execute something to get a pretty good look.
December, January, I'd look at that. These guys haven't even played a game yet this year. They've practiced for a week, and I know they haven't worked 4-on-3 yet.
UMD had a monstrous penalty kill to close the overtime a week ago against Michigan Tech. It was about a minute and 45 seconds, I think, of 4-on-3. The puck was in their defensive zone the entire time. Zach Stacekall made a couple saves, a couple big block shots, and now a chance to do it again in a big moment for this UMD penalty kill, but minus Dominic James, who was a big part of it last week.
Yeah, a huge part of it.
This is a big test right now for Goats out there, and certainly for a guy like Bondarchuk, who's a little bit bigger, and he's going to have to move a lot of space out there with Schlane, Gantos, and Zinger. These are 3 very talented offensive players.
So Scott Sandlin starts with his killers against the talented offensive firepower of Northern Michigan. Gustafson Nyberg released. He'll head to the bench, and the 4-on-3 starts now for the Wildcats. 1:20 to go in the man advantage. Schlane has it near circle. Zinger at the top. Pap far. Those two will switch spots. Pap to Zinger, walks in, delays. Zinger behind the goal. Gantus to the top. Pap winds and fires. Loney with a block shot. That stung him. 1 minute to go in the power play. Pap has it again. Walking down is Schlane, and top of his crease, Zach Stayskal makes the stop.
We didn't pick the click so quick. Zach, you go first. Who are your two?
I'll take Blake Biondi and give me Tanner Latch, hat trick kid for Northern Michigan.
Like them.
I'll take Pap. He's had a great night offensively. And I'm going to take, for the hat trick, Ben Steeves for UMD.
Oh, you stole it right away from me, didn't you? For sure. Andre Gantos goes with me, and I'm going to whip down the list and say Quinn Olson picks it up for the Bulldogs.
55 seconds to go in the Northern power play. A new 4 out there for the Wildcats. New killers for the Bulldogs. Van Unen to Colella. Van Unen. Colella across the box. They tried to go. Good stick from Jack Smith. Latch has it. Fires. Block shot by Bodnerchuk, who had fallen down, but still managed to get in the way of the puck. And the clearance goes into the UMD bench.
Did that hit something? They can change there. They didn't?
Darian Goetz had all the time in the world there and just kind of panicked and rifled that into the UMD box. He's kind of shaking his head. That's one where you got to just settle it down, send it down the ice in play, but face-off is now going to stay in the UMD zone.
They are changing. Loney comes on for Smith. But the face-off does stay in the UMD zone.
Big win there by Loney. Huge win. Biggest win of the game so far.
Bodnerchuk the clear for the Bulldogs. 30 seconds to go in the power play. Just under 4 minutes to go in the extra session. Zinger has it for Northern. Top unit back out there for the Wildcats. Gantus walks in, a shot. That was blocked by Bodnerchuk. He's been out there this whole time for the Bulldogs. Pins Gantus to the wall. It comes free now to Schlane. Final 5 seconds of the power play. Then Spicer will be released. It'll be 4-on-4. Zinger, a one-timer. It's blocked by Goetz. We're back to even strength as Spicer is released. Zinger walks in the circle, a shot saved by Stayskal. The rebound to the near point. Diving play by Spicer. This will be icing on UMD, but it will give everybody a chance to reset and relax. And Scott Sandlin will use a timeout. I believe that means after the timeout, we'll go back to 3-on-3.
Correct.
When we come back from this even strength.
Yes, they will. They'll go 3-on-3 now that we're even up. But Scott Sandlin uses his timeout knowing he's got some tired individuals there of that icing. That was a great penalty kill for UMD, similar to last weekend. They get the job done. Now they just need to settle down, and Northern, you know what, they had some good looks on that. Couldn't execute anything, but certainly a lot of time left here to win this hockey game for both squads.
3:09 left in the overtime. The score 5-5. The shots 43-43. The Northern power play 3 for 8. The UMD power play 3 for 7. Things can't get much closer on the stat sheet.
I'm trying to come up with the word, and the only thing that's popping into my head, guys, is frantic. This whole game has just been frantic from the very drop of the puck on.
We don't see a lot of games like this, Zach, over the course of the year. A lot shots high on both sides, high scoring, so it's kind of fun. You know, we're used to kind of the tighter checking, lower scoring types of games, but it certainly had a lot of excitement tonight.
So UMD will come over the boards with Lowhite, Olson, and Gallatin. Northern counters with Colella, Perbix, and Zinger. 3-on-3, even strength. Just over 3 minutes to go here in the overtime at Amsoil Arena. Northern wins the faceoff, but to the empty point, and Zinger forced to retreat to his own ice. And behind the net, this is Josh Zinger to start. Gives it to Jack Perbix. Perbix, the Minnesota native, leaves for Zinger at the line. Zinger through the defense to the back end, and he missed the net. I'm not sure if Stayskal ever got a piece of it. Colella has it at the middle point. What a move by Josh Zinger, but in the end, he missed the net, or Stayskal made a great save. Did you guys see Stayskal get a piece of that?
I think he did.
I thought it was in the back of the net, guys.
Yep.
I thought that was a game over.
Michael Van Unen on the attack now. Area pass through the crease. Good defense there by Olson, who will turn it back for UMD. 3-on-2 if they hurry. Olson with Gallatin and Lowhite. Gallatin to Lowhite to Olson. A shot off the post, and Olsen ends up in the back of the net. He had all of the net to shoot at and rang it off the far post.
That was your guy.
That was my
Your
guy.
guy, Dave. What a play on the 3-on-2 entry into the zone. They go tic-tac-toe. Olsen gets it, and he just puts it off the far post and out.
Perbix was late coming back and was gassed.
Yeah.
And that started the 3-on-2, and you could just see it developing. That's the one thing you fear in the overtime is you get caught up the ice and you can't make it back there. Wow, what an opportunity.
Spicer, Steves, Pionk for UMD, Cantus, Zinger,
Well, Zinger's got
and Pap for Northern Michigan.
Sorry, Zach. Zinger's got 3 assists. He was looking for a goal and 3 assists, a 4-point night for him as a defenseman. That was it right there.
And he got walked a couple times too, so he's more of a winger, not Zinger, right?
He's been out there for a lot of this 3-on-3. Some of it was power play time, but he carries over to this shift. Now this is Pap working on Pionk. Pap stops at the goal line, works back into the circle, hands off for Gantus to the middle. It's swiped away by Stayskal, picked up now by Ben Steves. 3-on-2 as they cross the red line. Steves into the zone. Steves to the far side. Pionk a shot. Shoulder save Halaz. 90 seconds to go in the 3-on-3. Steves controls high in the zone. Pionk will step off. Gallatin on for UMD. Spicer has it. Fires a shot that was blocked. And Halaz off the end boards had to be aware. He covers up for Northern.
Well, you'll take an offensive zone faceoff there. And for Halaz, he knew he wanted to get fresh guys out. UMD was able to make part of a change there. That's a big part of 3-on-3, guys, is when you can get your guys out and stay fresh versus getting caught out there too long and you're chasing the play. Now both teams able to get fresh guys out with an offensive zone faceoff for UMD.
Wow, are you guys going to like Pionk this year? That's so composed on that shift. Are you sure it's not Neil?
It's looking more and more like him every time I watch him. It's fun to see.
Biondi, McMenamin, Gallatin for UMD. Eddie, Van Unen, and Schlein counter for Northern Michigan. 1:15 to go. Schlein through neutral ice. Will delay there and now enters. Watched by Biondi into the corner.
1 minute remaining in the overtime period.
Cross for Van Unen, defended by Gallatin. To the near side corner. Schlein will step off. On comes Mikey Colella. And out to neutral ice, Gallatin pushes Michael Van Unen. Gallatin steps off. Pionk back on for the Bulldogs. Changes continue to happen here in the 3-on-3. McMenamin off. Olsen on. Biondi will head that way for the Bulldogs as well. A fresh 3 for each team. Gantus through neutral ice ahead of steam. Has Zinger with him. Zinger again. Saved by Stayskal. 2 golden chances for Josh Zinger. Turned aside. And now it's Lohheit the other way. 20 seconds to go. Lohheit stops in the circle. Tried a centering pass. Still has it in the corner. Tried to give it to Pionk and just over his stick it hopped. Final 10 seconds. Pionk leaves for Olsen. Olsen to the middle. Tried to go back to Pionk. 5 seconds for the Bulldogs. Pionk circles back to Olsen. Middle point, long shot, and blocked away by Andre Gantus. It's a 5-5 overtime tie. 2 straight ties to start the year for UMD. And for the second straight weekend, an exhibition shootout here at Amsoil Arena.
You saw it right away, didn't you? The same thing I did.
Shots on goal ended up even up 45-40. A lot of similarities up on the board there. That last shift Zinger, once again, he beat 2 UMD players up the ice to make that a 3-on-2.
As the teams get ready for the exhibition shootout, let's look back at our keys to the game and how the teams do. Let's start with you, Dave Ellis for Northern Michigan.
Well, I don't know about causing turnovers. I think they committed more turnovers, but they have been hunting the puck after that first 20 minutes and creating a little bit more in that one. So I'm going to say one for 2 there. Sure. How about that?
Yeah, and on the UMD side, I mean, I said fast start. That was going to be a key. Northern hadn't played a game yet. They get up 3-0 in the first period. I'd say that's a pretty good fast start for them and taking care of the puck. You know, they did in the first period. Second period was not a good one for them. But for the most part, guys, I think each team is, you know, taking care of the pucks. No bad turnovers, really. It's kind of been a weird game with so many special teams. You just never get that 5-on-5 flow going.
I'm going to say 1.5 for you, so you win the keys tonight, John.
This week, interesting point, Scott Sandlin said that he lets the goaltenders at least offer their opinion, if not outright pick the shootout takers for UMD. Last week, Anthony Mangini, Ben Steeves both scored beautiful goals for the Bulldogs. He gave all the credit to Matthew Thiessen, who said, these are the guys that have been on all week.
Now, remember last week I told you Blake Biebla had that really weird thing when he's not very good with shootouts. That's not the case with Halas. He is a specialist in these.
Quinn Olson to start the exhibition shootout for UMD. Olson fires, he scores!
Could be my guy.
He didn't hit the net in the overtime. Buries it in the shootout. The Bulldogs up 1-0.
Well, just simple, right? He goes in. Ice isn't great at this point of the night, guys. He just goes in from the right side and shoots low stick side. Nice tight shot there, and UMD gets the upper hand here.
Mikey Colella counters first for Northern Michigan. Colella comes in slow, drives wide. Now he picks up speed, fires, saved by Stejskal.
Slow. And when you move slow, the goalie loves it. That's why I really like the way that Olsen went down with speed on the goaltender. If you move slow in this one, you're playing into the keeper's hands.
It was the number 3 play on the NCHC's top plays last week. Ben Steeves' shootout move. What can he come up with for an encore? This time he drives to the forehand side. Steeves tried to go 5-hole. Halaz makes the save.
How fast is that pad? Wow.
Yeah, he got that down in a hurry. That's what Mangini did last week. This that quick little 5-hole. You get the goalie moving his legs, and as he's moving him, something opens up. But a good job, to, like you said, Dave, to drop that pad and shut the door.
Michael Van Unen next over the boards, the senior defenseman for Northern. Van Unen fakes a save by Stejskal. He got the blocker to it.
Yeah, Stejskal nothing fooled him there. A couple little fakes, a couple jukes. The defenseman getting an opportunity up there, made a pretty good move there, but Stejskal is so big, he just stayed with it, stayed square, dropped down, and really puck hits his shoulders, nothing up above. This will do it if UMD scores here.
Anthony Mangini, a chance to win it for the second week in a row for UMD. The freshman walks in, a shot, save, Halaz.
How far out Halaz comes there and backs up nicely with Mangini as he rolls in. And
look at your 3 for Northern. No Schlane, no Gantos. You're going to Pap to keep this one alive.
Christoph Pap has to score to keep the game going. Pap in on Stejskal into the backhand. Great move from the senior, and we're tied 1-1.
Yeah, nice little move there. He got him, Stejskal moving to his right, and then a quick little cutback. No chance there.
Got set up by the first 2 guys. Stejskal thought he was going to see that same move the 3rd time in a row.
So now extra shooters. First one to score and miss will win the game. Biondi for UMD with some speed. Biondi a shot, saved by Halas.
That's the 3rd time the UMD's tried to go 5-hole on this goaltender, and I mean, it's not working. He's shutting the door. Surprised we're not seeing something else here from UMD.
So now the freshman Grant Slakinski out of Warroad.
Cool
a chance to win it for Northern Michigan. He comes in on Zach Stejskal.
He's excited. Jump the gun. False start. Offense.
Is that 5 yards? He's got to move back.
Yeah, right.
Here comes Slakinski for real.
He's coming with speed, guys.
Lost the puck, regained it, and Stejskal makes the pad save. Stood tall for UMD.
Well, he almost tried the same move that we just saw there, and it coming in a little bit faster and didn't quite sell it.
Judd, where was your move on a penalty shot? What did you do?
The dump and chase. That was my move, Dave. I'd always, you know what? I always look to go high glove. It was just kind of something I did. We'll see here what.
Connor McMenamin for the Bulldogs. He goes high glove and rings one off the iron for the Bulldogs.
Just that little flip play. You get the goalie moving and just kind of that soft little flip play. We've seen that in the last couple of years in the NHL, that shootout move, the Kaprizov, Kirill move.
Saw Mason Lowry for Ohio State last year go about 3 feet inside the line and light up a clapper, and he scored.
So now Mitch Dielstra, a chance to win it for Northern Michigan. He drives to the left circle. Shot saved by Stejskal with the right pad.
You know, back in the day, that was a big save because the goalie pads came down on the sides of your skates. It's almost impossible to hit that now, and that's what Dielstra did.
Well, if nothing else, both head coaches getting a good look at their shootout lineups for when these matter for conference points later in the year. This time, Matthew Perkins for the Bulldogs. Fires, scores! Matthew Perkins, the freshman for UMD. And now a stop from Stayskal can end things at Amsoil Arena.
Yeah, that was, again, a pretty simple move. He just comes in, again, from his right to left and just snaps a quick shot back to the glove side, and somehow it hit a hole. I don't know if it snuck in between the body and the arm in the 7 hole, we call it, but it certainly went in the net.
Can't be a power play. It had to be a frosh, right?
Jack Perbix, the transfer from Western Michigan and Minnesota, fires! Saved by Stayskal! And for the second straight weekend, UMD wins the exhibition shootout here in Duluth.
I mean, we're just laughing up here. What a hockey game. This had pretty much everything tonight, boys.
Zach Stayskal stands tall in the shootout. Matthew Perkins gets the shootout winning goal. Officially a 5-5 tie to open this series between Northern Michigan and UMD. We will take a break. Bring you back to wrap things up here from Amsoil Arena on My9 Sports, the Gray TV Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's Toyota player of the game is chosen by select members of the...
It's a 5-5 overtime tie in Game 1 here at Amsoil Arena between UMD and Northern Michigan. The Bulldogs do win that for fun exhibition shootout for a second weekend in a row. The player with the game-winning goal that won't go in any record book anywhere, but it's still fun for him. A freshman, Matthew Perkins, is with our Alexis Bass.
Game, you score your first collegiate goal in the craziest game that you were just saying that you probably experienced. What was that like for you?
It was awesome to do it in front of our fans and everybody here. It was awesome. Have my parents are in attendance too, so it's pretty cool to have them there for my first goal.
I know you've had plenty of experience in juniors, scoring a lot of goals. And in fact, when you were in juniors, you were almost averaging a goal a game. So this isn't anything new to you. What was going through your mind when Sandelin said, hey, it's time to go?
Just was watching the goalie through our first, I think we had 4 shooters go before me, and I saw that low glove was open, and I kind of just stuck to my idea and said, go put it there, and it worked out. So
Tomorrow, what's it going to take to win this game in regulation against this Northern Michigan team?
We're going to need another good start again. We've had both weekends, we've had really good starts, and our second periods have been not what we want to be, so I think we have to find a way to put together a full 60 minutes and hopefully get one in regulation.
Well, congratulations and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Guys, something's back to you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Alexis. I shouldn't say it won't count anywhere. In the record books, you won't see it. But Matthew Perkins, go ahead and feel free to put that puck up on your mantle. That's still a cool moment as a freshman to get a game-winning goal, even though it's in that exhibition shootout.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was a goal scorer in junior, as Alexis talked about. But you saw him when he came in. His head was up. He was, he wasn't looking down. He knew what he was going to do, but he's surveying, and he sells it, and it was a great shot right to the back of the net.
It had to be a freshman. I mean, we had so many power play goals and rookie goals tonight. We couldn't get a power play goal in the shootout, so it had to be a rookie, right?
Yeah, for sure. It was a back-and-forth battle throughout. UMD jumped out to that 3-0 lead. Northern Michigan battled back and actually took a lead in the third period before Anthony Mangini scored a big goal. He's a freshman as well for UMD. Game 1, guys, in the books, a 5-5 overtime tie. Your takeaways for the Bulldogs and the Wildcats?
Yeah, I think it was entertaining, certainly. I don't know how happy the coaches are going to be about, can you remember a time UMD's blown a 3-goal lead? I don't, and I know that's something that the coaching staff is not going to be happy about on the one hand, but the fact that Northern battled back, that's something they can build off for sure tomorrow night. And then UMD had to battle back too. So again, they didn't know anything about each other going into the weekend, but I think they learned a little bit. It was a hard-fought game tonight, and it got pretty physical, like you talked about, Dave. I think we'll see probably the same stuff tomorrow.
I'm very curious to see what the first 5 minutes of the hockey game will be like on Saturday night, because we've seen a lot of tone setters out here, guys, and whoever decides this is the way we want to go, I wouldn't be surprised at any way that this thing goes, and you may end up with a 1-1 game tomorrow for all we know.
Right.
Second game of a weekend series, so much different. Last weekend we didn't get to see it with UMD and Michigan Tech. not only do the emotions carry over like you're talking about, but the physical nature of carrying over. These are the first games of the year for Northern Michigan, first back-to-back series for UMD. How much of a role does that play in tomorrow night's contest?
You know, I think, well, we already saw an injury. Dominic James, UMD is arguably their best forwards. He was out of the lineup for the majority of the game tonight after he got hurt. I don't know if we'll see him tomorrow, so they're a little banged up. That's a big loss for UMD. These guys are in great shape. They're ready to play. I don't think fatigue will be too much of a factor unless, there's some injuries and whatnot.
Grant Patolny brought 14 forwards and 8D on the trip. I would imagine you're going to see a couple different guys in the lineup tomorrow. Maybe not just to get a look at them, but just to kind of salt a different look through this lineup, because some of the time it worked tonight, but some of these guys were along as passengers. So I think there are going to be some changes in the green and gold bench too.
There will be differences in our lineup as well as we say goodbye to Dave Ellis for tomorrow night. He has been joining us these first 2 games of this season to talk about teams from the Upper Peninsula, Michigan Tech last weekend, and now Northern Michigan here tonight. So as we get on the air tomorrow, that's our next broadcast here on My 9 Sports, 7 o'clock. These 2 teams will drop the puck again. We will say goodbye to Dave. We've enjoyed having you here. Thank you for making the trip, and thank you for bringing some knowledge of these Northern Michigan teams to us in Duluth.
Really appreciated it. If you're watching on Fox UP back in Upper Michigan, you get Michigan Tech Northern Michigan for the Miners Cup in football at 7 Eastern, 6 Central tomorrow after I make the drive back. But you guys have got a busy day ahead tomorrow yourselves.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Judd and I will be back for Game 2 between UMD and Northern Michigan. We'll drop the puck same as tonight, 7 o'clock. We hope you can join us on My 9 Sports and the Gray TV network. Until then, for Dave Ellis, Judd Medic, Alexis Bass, our producer Tom Hansen, our director Ryan Skorich, and everybody here in Duluth with My 9 Sports, thank you so much for spending part of your Friday night with us. It's a 5-5 tie in overtime. Game 1 between UMD and Northern Michigan. We hope we will see you tomorrow for Game 2. Until then, hockey fans, so long.